Hi everyone, and welcome back to the University. Today we have day 12 of the Raymond Davis trial. This occurs on September 10th, 2019. And this is the start of the jury voir dire. This is where the parties and the court get to ask the jurors questions and determine what the ultimate makeup of the jury is going to be. However, we once again start with multiple oral motions brought by Raymond Davis that all have to be answered on the spot instead of in writing 5 days beforehand, as is proper according to the court rules. But okay. And then, after several hours of voir dire, Davis decides to pipe up and say, "Hey, by the way, I might be having surgery in less than a week because of a bruise on my ankle caused by the uh, ankle monitor." We'll see what the judge thinks of it. And let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you enjoy.
Where do you normally have your jurors sit? Have them sit there?
Yeah, so here, and because this is a light case, then it's probably in the back too. We'll probably fill it out. Is there something you're worried about?
No, I didn't. Just mine must be confusing to get out from mine.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Alright, so we are in the record in State of Nevada versus Raymond Davis, C342946. Ms. Collins is here on behalf of the state. Mr. Davis is here representing himself pro per. Standby counsel, Mr. Klaus, Justice Klaus, is also present. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how the jury selection process goes. So I will start out by asking just some general questions. And then as soon as I am done, then we're going to go meet and confer in the back about challenges. We're going to meet and confer up at the bench about challenges for people who are going to go out of town, who are full-time students, blah, blah, blah. So generally, Mr. Davis, just so you know, people who can prove to me that they're going to be out of town, I generally excuse. People who are full-time students that are going to miss like a week and a half of school, I generally excuse. And then after that, we'll go into just asking our questions of those people in the box. And after I'm done, Ms. Collins will have an opportunity to ask the jurors questions. And then Mr. Davis, you'll have an opportunity to ask the jurors questions. All right?
Yes.
So, how I like to do challenges for cause. I like you to just notate it like on your folder, and then when we go for a recess or if like there's a break in conduct, say, "Judge, can I approach, the state has a motion or defense has a motion?" Because I don't, so Mr. Davis, I need you to hear me because this is all important. I'm really doing this for your edification because Ms. Collins already knows how to pick a jury. So if you want to challenge a juror because you don't think that they can be fair, you don't just do it in front of the jury. You say, "Can we please approach?" and we'll deal with it, okay?
Right.
But don't do it because if that person doesn't end up getting excused, you don't want them to know that you wanted them gone. You know what I mean? So after both sides have had the opportunity to ask the questions of the prospective jury panel, then you'll do your peremptory challenges. Because this is a life case, you get 9. Each side gets 9. The alternates will be jurors sitting in seat 13 and 14. So those will be the alternates. All right? So what will happen is my marshal will have a piece of paper, and you guys are going to pass it back and forth, stating this is my first peremptory challenge, this is my second, third, fourth, and you get 9 of those.
No.
And that's not till the end, though, after we've asked all of the questions. So the questions that I ask, I'll do those first. And waiver of one is not waiver of all. And you can use your 9. The last pick has to be for the alternates, though. Does anyone have any questions in regards to selecting a jury?
Just your own certificate, I have this offense as well.
Of course, yeah.
Education, as you're going through, the full cause challenge is done first then, before you do your peremptory challenges?
Yeah, so let's say like we're in the middle and it starts becoming really apparent, you know, that juror number 9 is not going to be able to be fair. I don't like to just be like, Judge, can we approach like right then, because I think it gives an indication to every other juror what you have to say, what you can say. So when you see a break in the like just maybe you move on to the next juror, just write down who you want to challenge for cause. Or write you, Mr. Davis, you write down who you want to challenge for cause, and then we'll deal with it up at the bench.
And do you want him to examine the jurors one at a time, Your Honor, or is it?
No, so what I do is I ask general questions, and if you guys need to do any follow-up on my questions, and then I ask you guys to do general questions. If there's follow-up, like if a juror asks answers a question, you want to do follow-up with them, that's totally fine, but we're not going to go like juror 1, ask questions, juror 2, ask questions. No, we're going to do it at the full. Let's see, what else?
Does Your Honor ask the ever been a victim, ever been accused questions?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. So, Mr. Davis, in regards to how is the house arrest bracelet issue going right now?
Well, it won't charge, I gotta wear it here. I mean, I gotta keep it plugged up most of the time, so.
Okay.
I got a couple of motions.
Okay, well, right now we're going to deal with this. So, I told you yesterday that I would absolutely order house arrest to provide you with a new bracelet, so that you wouldn't have to charge it in court, but you stated that you did not want to go down to house arrest. Is that right?
They're mean, they're very mean people, I don't want to
Okay,
say.
the question was, your answer to me was you are not going to go down there and get the new anklet.
They got a new one?
I told you yesterday, you could go down there and you could get it switched to another ankle and get a new one that would not need to be upcharged every 15 minutes. And you told me that you weren't going back down there because they were rude to you, right?
Yes, very.
Okay, so you realize right now you have chosen to wear those sweatpants again to court that show, do you have your sweatpants pulled over the bracelet?
No, and I want the jury to see it. I want the jury to see this.
Okay, so
Yeah, I got a motion, it's gonna be part of my, one of my motions.
okay.
I looked it up all over, no defendant has ever went to court with an ankle bracelet.
No,
So,
that's,
well, I couldn't find anything that the defendant went to court with. He stood up himself, and he done did hundreds of cases and said he'd never seen it before.
okay.
So, to violate my constitutional right to a fair trial by making me wear an ankle
You
bracelet to
realize,
trial, my Sixth Amendment.
okay, well, my turn. You realize that inmates from the Clark County Detention Center stay in custody during trials, right? And then come in here dressed in suits and normal clothes and still aren't having the issues that you're having. I offered to have you go down to the house arrest office to get it, because you complain that it bruises your ankle. So to get a new one that doesn't bruise your ankle, to put it on a different foot, and to have a new one so you didn't have to charge it. And you have refused every item of help that I have offered you. You recognize that, right?
I don't recognize that being help, that I gotta go be in trial and I gotta go to the house arrest people every day, twice a day, to get my new ankle bracelet or
Twice
whatever
a
you
day?
told
What are
me
you
to do.
talking about? I didn't say you had to go twice a day.
So, I got a couple of motions I wanna put in for the juries.
Okay, well, what are the motions? Because like I said, you don't get to just file motions. I
Okay,
mean,
first, go ahead.
you don't,
I apologize.
you can't just come in here every day and file new motions. I mean, there are there are procedures that must be followed. You file a motion, and then the state has an opportunity to respond in writing, and then you have an opportunity to respond in writing, and then I hear them. But you coming in every single day with motions is not how this is going to work. What is it that you feel needs to be addressed?
The ankle bracelet, first of all. I got a motion to remove this ankle bracelet. Court has violated my Sixth Amendment rights by forcing the defendant to wear ankle bracelet during trial. I have been denied my right to a fair trial, which is a right protected by the Sixth Amendment right. The defendant asked the court to remove the bracelet for the trial. It was denied. The judge asked standby attorney, has he ever seen the defendant in court with an ankle bracelet? His reply was no. If a jury sees a defendant in an ankle bracelet, it will persuade his case furthermore, prejudice his case. The ankle monitor, due to balkiness, blinking lights, and everything, cannot be hidden under clothes like the judge told me to hide it under clothes. Plus, the bracelet needs to be charged up. I asked the court to remove the ankle bracelet. During trial, they refused. He got the lowest, the defendant got the lowest possible score for pre-trial assessment. He is no flight risk. He has a bail. What is bail for if bail is not used? And then they put you in a program where you got to sit in court like a dummy with an ankle bracelet on that's been on for 5 months. And then I put that's my motion. I put the ankle bracelet there that you have, and I put my pre-trial assessment.
Ms. Collins, your response?
Well, Your Honor, we've given him options. He just told you that he wanted the jury to see the ankle bracelet. I guess that's in some sort of effort to engender sympathy. There's very few sex offenders who are charged with these kind of offenses are walking around out of custody. It's very unusual. So, we gave him options. He could have worn dress slacks to court today. He could have gone to the house arrest office. Honestly, to me, the option is you want to go in custody, then you can wear a suit and no ankle bracelet, right? There's no prejudice to him if he's saying he wants the jury to see it. He's making the choice right now. I think what he's trying to do right now is kind of bully the court into removing it. He has substantial ties to California. I think if you take it off, he's going to run. That's what I think.
All right, so the defendant's motion can be filed. Marshall O'Kelly, would you please grab that from Mr. Davis? It'll be marked. I understood. Thank you. That motion is denied. I previously addressed all of these issues. I've given the defendant every opportunity that I could think of under this scenario. He chose to wear the same outfit he was in yesterday, including a pair of gray sweatpants that he not only refuses to put his sweatpants over his house arrest bracelet, he in fact tucks his pants under his house arrest bracelet. So he also placed on the record that he wants the jury to see his house arrest bracelet. So that motion is denied. Next.
Okay. Most of them you just answered. I respectfully move to ask that this case be dismissed due to a lack of evidence, no physical evidence.
All right, so we've already talked about this. Sufficiency of evidence, lack of evidence. I know that you know this, so you tell me, what is the vehicle I had told you that you may file that with?
The writ.
A petition for writ of habeas corpus.
Okay, so I don't need that.
That's denied.
Okay.
Are you taking it off calendar, or you want it marked?
I want it marked.
Okay, Marshall O'Kelly, could you please have that marked? The entirety of that document, much like the document yesterday, is sufficiency of the evidence, which I've explained to the defendant. I am happy to look at the sufficiency of the evidence in this case, but it must be done by filing a petition for writ of habeas corpus. He's refusing to do that. He wishes his trial to start today. That motion is denied. Next.
I want a motion to dismiss the defect in the charging documents. In the state's charging papers, there is no dates. There is no dates. It's just generally a year. Here, here. There's not one date of this happened to me on this date. Unlike the case yesterday where the girls that came to trial had dates.
So you're saying failure to plead with specificity in regards to the date range?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Collins.
Your Honor, that's also a writ issue, as this court well knows, that's had to be addressed in a writ of habeas corpus. And the court well knows that time is The state is not required to prove a specific date, but only a frame of time when it comes to sexual abuse charges.
So Ms. Collins is right in regards to both, really. So that is a sufficiency of the evidence that would need to be dealt with by petition for the habeas corpus. But just so you know, there's been a lot of case law in regards to sexual assault crimes or child abuse crimes in regards to basically crimes against children and them being able to remember specific dates. And so the case law does talk about the prosecutor can plead a larger date range as long as the victim can say that the conduct happened within that date frame and can give specific instances. So that motion is denied.
Your Honor, yesterday you did bad acts with her, you know, the bad acts thing. I would like to challenge that and not be allowed. Because the simple fact is, this is a whole different case. This is a case where the girl said that she gave oral sex at
So
13.
are these different than your arguments made yesterday? Because what happens is if you wish for me to reconsider, you need to file a motion for reconsideration that shows there are new facts or that I was clearly erroneous. So if you're not, those are the two ways that I would need to be able to hear for a motion for reconsideration.
This is a motion for reconsideration.
Okay, based on either new facts or clearly erroneous.
Well, I'm trying to get to the relevancy of it.
Okay, but you can file a motion for reconsideration for two reasons. That I was clearly erroneous, or that there are new facts that you need to present to the court. Do you have new facts to present to the court?
Yes.
And what are those?
I have facts that she was not at no time 13 when she said she was 13. Nunez.
Erica Munoz?
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, she said she was 15.
No, yesterday she said she was 13.
Okay. All right, so I'm sorry, but, okay, so that's a new fact. Is that her age?
Yes, I'm questioning her age because she got on the stand and said she was 13. And what's relevant about that is this Vanessa Robinson victim is 13, so that's categorized in the same thing. And this is showing a pattern of how this prosecutor likes to back people's age up and make them younger than what they are. She did it to Mrs. Nunez yesterday. She did it to...
Is there a Miss Nunez? Am I getting this wrong? Isn't it Erica Munoz, or who are we talking about?
Munoz, I don't know how to pronounce her name, whatever her name is. The girl that testified
Okay,
yesterday.
Erica Munoz.
But
M-U-N-O-Z.
I can't pronounce this, so I can just call her Erica.
Just call her Erica.
Okay, Erica. So the prosecutor has shown in order to bring these charges up, she had to back Vanessa Robinson's age up. She did it again yesterday by backing this girl up, that this girl had her testify that she was 13, when, in fact, when she gave her birthday and everything, it proved that she was 15. But the DA knew she was 15. But to tell alleged victims to back up your age, so, okay, the difference, Your Honor, between a crime against a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old is humongous. Humongous. So I can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there's no way possible that I could have met Vanessa when she was 13.
But Vanessa is the victim in this case.
Right.
I know. So this is
So
about the motion for bad acts.
right. So now, when she gets her on the stand yesterday and have her say that she's 13, that's a huge flaw, because you allow the bad acts in because of the similarity of age. 13. She says she's 13. Vanessa says she's 13.
Okay, but that's not a new fact from yesterday. You gotta stick to the rules. You gotta present me with new facts.
Okay. So it's not a fact that she's 15. It was a fact that she was 13 yesterday.
Yeah, but you brought out that she wasn't that age yesterday, right?
No. It wasn't brought out by me.
I thought that you even cross-examined her on that aspect.
No, you can get the transcripts. It was never proven by me that I never asked her because I didn't realize it until I got home.
Okay, so your motion for reconsideration is based on the fact that Erica was actually 15 and not 13.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, but you realize that that would be closer to the age of Vanessa, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, but part of your, well, I can't go into your thinking, but you would think that when someone says 13, if somebody says 13, Your Honor, you're more pissed about somebody that would say they're 15. I mean, 15 is a whole different level than somebody that's 13 because it's a different crime. I mean, it's a different sentence. You say 14 and under. This is why the judge, this is why the prosecutor kept hammering the 13. She wants everybody on the planet. She wants every girl on the planet to be 13. Because this gives the state more chance to hammer me.
Okay. Ms. Collins, go ahead.
So
please.
I did misspeak just a moment ago. So I did make a record yesterday that the occurrence of this event was June 27th of 2004.
Right,
And that her date of birth was 8/13 of 89,
right.
which made her 14, turning 15 the following August. So I did misspeak. I don't know why she said she was 13. This whole suggestion that I've, pushed back ages to try to suggest some more relevance to the court is absolutely ludicrous. But so there is in the record that she was 14 based on the date of the occurrence of the 2004 case and her date of birth.
All right, so the motion for reconsideration is denied. I don't find that any of my findings were clearly erroneous, nor am I shown facts that I feel would raise to the level for me to reconsider my previous ruling. Next motion, please.
Your Honor, also, if she misspoke in this one by backing up this girl's age, maybe it was a mistake. I'm not questioning that if it was a mistake. Maybe she made a mistake in the charging documents with Vanessa by saying Vanessa was 13 when she was actually 14.
Okay, but if she made that mistake, then I'm sure she will let us know and make a correction.
Well, if she made a correction, Your Honor, all the charges would be different.
Right.
Right, okay.
So if she needs to correct anything, I'm sure that she will.
You better get the correcting.
So what we're not going to do is we're not going to have comments like that to
What?
Ms. Collins. If you have a comment, say it to me.
I just said that some things need to be corrected.
No, I heard what you said. Don't play games with me because it's not going to go well for you.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm asking for a change of venue. The fact that the familiarity of this prosecutor with Your Honor, that possibly you guys...
That's not a change of venue.
Right.
That's a motion for
Right.
recusal.
No, I'm not asking for a motion for recusal. I mean, you're free, I mean, I can't tell you where not to go, where to go. I would never do that. I would never tell anybody that. I'm asking for a change of venue because I feel that my chances of a fair trial in this courthouse, not your court,
Okay,
in
just
this,
in any court in
in
here.
any court here is jeopardized due to the fact that my photo was posted all over the internet because the courts allowed someone to come in here and photograph me.
Well, they didn't allow it. They didn't know what was going on. I mean, you can't say that the courts allowed it.
Well,
I can't keep track of every single human being in here. If you come in tomorrow morning at 9:30, you'll see every single chair is taken and people are standing. So don't say the courts allowed it. And I'm sure Judge Kadish wasn't like, feel free to take a photo of Mr. Davis and post it to Facebook. I mean, I think there's even a sign out there that says no cameras.
okay, Your Honor, so even if it wasn't, it still hampers my ability to have a fair trial by somebody posting this, and especially when they're a witness to the state. So I think if this case is taken to North Vegas, to Henderson.
So the problem is all those cases come here. Those are justice courts.
Mhm.
So right here is the only district court in Las Vegas. All the cases from North Las Vegas and all the cases from Henderson and all the cases from Las Vegas come here to this courthouse. So change of venue would go somewhere like up to Reno.
Okay.
So I talked to you yesterday about there being safeguards in place. There are cases that are publicized times a billion from what you're talking about, and they're still tried within this courthouse. And we have certain safety procedures that are put in place where I will ask the jurors, have you heard anything about this case? Do you recognize anybody in this case? Do you recognize any witnesses? Do you recognize Mr. Davis? Do you recognize Ms. Collins? Do you recognize me? Have you ever seen anything about this on Facebook, Twitter, anything like that? People raise their hands and they say, yeah, I did, and then we'll get rid of them. As long as if they say, I read about this, I saw this, I can't be fair, then they're gone, because it's important for you to have a fair trial. We're going to make sure that that happens. So the motion to change venue is denied. Marshall O'Kelly, can you please approach that?
I got a prosecutor misconduct.
We dealt with that yesterday.
No, I didn't file.
No, you did file prosecutorial misconduct
I did?
yesterday. What is the basis today?
Okay, it's the same one I did file yesterday.
So that's taken off.
Okay, I'm filing for pre-trial, dismissal due to pre-trial delay, and it's not the one where the docket from my first.
How is it different from docket?
Your Honor, when I was arrested, it was almost 5 months ago. When I was arraigned, it was almost 5 months ago. I never signed any waiver to waive my right to my 60-day. I looked it over plenty of times. They put me on calendar several times. They pushed it back. At no point in time did I say I wasn't ready. Several points in time, the state said they wasn't ready. So even with the docket, and I quote United States versus Elwin, 383 U.S. 116. That's my point of authority. The delays have been really hampered my ability to defend myself. My paid counsel was ready to go to trial. I had the financial means to pay them to go to trial as long as they want. But the simple fact that the court made me wait basically made my paid counsel ineffective, because, I mean,
Wait, what?
well, it made my
Who's
defense,
making- who-
it made my defense ineffective, because with the passage of time, more and more evidence of this case of my, so I had four witnesses come to Greg Mueller's office. 4 of them. They sat there, they gave their testimony, their statements to him. We sat in the meeting room, and we were ready to go. We were ready to go to trial. Next thing I know, the state is not ready. And
Oh, no. Let's not, we're not gonna get this twisted. Your counsel filed a notice of alibi on the eve before trial. That has to be done within a certain period of time. Your defense necessitated a continuance.
No, not that one, Your Honor. You got the wrong one. It was before that. I'm not talking about the
Okay,
alibi.
hold on. Your information was filed on May 13th of 2019. So now, I'm looking to see when your first trial was set.
Your Honor, his first trial was set July 8th. I was out of the jurisdiction. Mr. Mueller didn't mind moving it a week. So I don't know if that's what he's referring to. There was no, Mr. Mueller had not filed a notice of witness. Mr. Mueller had not filed a notice of alibi. I just will have the court know that,
That's the day.
that his prelim went forward on the first day that it was set, on May 6th. That was the bind over. They set the court date, the first trial date, shorter than 60 days. I had travel plans, I wasn't gonna be here. And we moved it to the 60-day date, which would have been the July.
Yeah,
The
no,
first July
July 22nd is his right to a trial within 6 years, your right to a trial within 60 days. okay? Miss Collins was originally out of town the week before, so the court moved it to July 22nd. On that day is the day that Miss Collins represented. There were 10 witnesses, and I noted the receipt of the state's motion to continue based on the filing of a notice of alibi witness filed Friday at 4 p.m. by defense in violation of NRS 174.233. So that was your defense counsel not following the rules. That's the very first trial setting in July. So you had arraignment in May, you had your first calendar call in July, you were set to start trial on July 22nd. I remember we were all here, and you were upset, if you remember, because your counsel failed to file the alibi witness.
They filed it. They said it wasn't within 5 days. She put it on the technicality.
Well, that's the rule. It's not a technicality, it's a rule.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
actually not 5 days, I think it's closer to 15, and they have to give the substance of the alibi, so that not only was the notice late, it was qualitatively defective.
Your Honor, I came to court, I remember what day I was dressed, came to court, I was ready for my trial, I had my witnesses in town. My defense was ready, we were ready for trial. Then I looked down there and I got very upset because I didn't see my name for trial. I called Greg Mueller,
Craig, his name is Craig.
Craig, whatever. I said, I'd like to, what's going on here? And he says, oh, I apologize, Your Honor. So I said, what's going on? And he says, well, there were some issues in the court, and we had the trial moved. I says, why wouldn't I be told that?
But that's between you and Mr. Mueller. I have the record right here, July 29th, the alibi witness was filed late. Your choices were to go without those witnesses or continue it so you could have that, as well as the docket hearing that was on that day. So that was done. Those were your choices. You stayed in invoked status. I got you on the very next setting. That's what we're here. So that motion is denied. Please mark it as an exhibit. I have a jury that's been out there for 40 minutes. Do you have anything else?
That's it.
Please bring them in.
I just need to get the over.
Is that a motion or exhibit?
Dean, we need to wait for a second because we gotta do some stuff up here. So would you just make sure they're in order to
I'll
be
just
thrown?
remind it, yeah.
Yep. Your Honor, is that exhibit or motion?
How can we remedy that? Should we help
They'll get,
them?
they need to go pick up the jurors well before we start. Otherwise, as soon as you get on the bench, I have to take notes.
Okay, so remind me next time. So I just have to know how it works. Tonight I don't know.
Okay.
But so in the future we'll have him go down earlier or have them send up something.
Yes, much earlier before we start, then I can have it all prepared.
Got it.
But
That's easy.
I'm almost out to see the
No
copy.
worries.
Your Honor, can you do one more question for you?
Yeah.
What day should I be calling I gotta get all my witnesses from out of town here. What day would I be calling my first witness?
When is Ms. Brown coming, did you say?
Monday afternoon.
So probably either, I would think Friday or Tuesday, if he takes them out of order. Are we just gonna be dark Friday? What are we gonna do?
Well, I didn't really set up a time schedule because I didn't know how long everything was gonna take, and we're gonna have 6 motions every time we walk into court. If we get a jury midway through tomorrow, I can probably have witnesses for most of Friday.
All right, I'm thinking the beginning part of next week, but we're just gonna have to see how it goes the rest of the week. I don't know, because I don't know, for instance, right now, we could have already been picking a jury. For 45 minutes, we've been sitting here arguing about
I'm
things.
sorry for wasting this.
That's okay, you're not wasting my time, but there are rules that need to be followed. So from now on, motions are going to be filed in open court. A motion, the copy is going to be given to Ms. Collins. She's going to be given 5 days to respond, or I'm gonna have to look in the statute for the specific amount of days. But we're not gonna do trial by ambush where the state just has to respond orally to every single motion you walk in here and file. So by the time we leave today, I'll have the statute pulled up in regards to the proper timeliness of motions, because normally, I believe all substantive motions are supposed to be filed 10 days previous to the trial. But I'll need to check on that, and right now I need to get this jury in here.
And Your Honor, I absolutely will accommodate if we need to call people out of order. I hadn't really thought that through.
All right, let's just see where we're at.
What time would you like to start tomorrow?
Tomorrow, how many do we have on our,
It's fairly large, you know, we have the 11 o'clock our day.
we're not gonna be able to start till 1 tomorrow, because I have a bench hearing at 11.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's fine with
Block
me.
tomorrow,
What, would you?
1 o'clock tomorrow,
I can come anytime you want.
Okay, thank you.
And, Your Honor, I request one more thing from the court. I didn't want to put it in a motion or nothing, so, you know, just keep flooding you with motions. I want to show you some kind of respect. I would like to get because the prosecutor has it, but I don't have it, the DA has it, her juvenile record and her adult record in court. I would like to, for purposes of impeachment, I addressed that. I don't remember when I addressed that with you, but I did. And I have yet to get any.
Ms. Collins?
Your Honor, he actually brought that up with me in a conversation with my investigator. I explained to him that juvenile records are sealed. I also explained to him that because of the nature of the disclosure of this case, when she was in juvenile detention, they're going to know she was in juvenile detention. And because of where she reviewed the photo lineup, they're going to know that she ultimately ended up in Caliente Youth Center. So he's not entitled to the substance of that. Those are sealed. That would have to be done in motion and request to family court to have those unsealed. I don't have any adult criminal history for her now. She's just now 18, I think. She's in school, so I don't have an adult history. I will run her again. I will tell my investigator to run her again. Obviously, if there's anything that goes to her credibility or a felony conviction within 10, I think he's entitled to that. But her juvenile history is sealed from my understanding, so that would have to be.
If you wish to unseal her juvenile record, you'll have to file the appropriate motion.
Right, that's what I was told, you know, today. The thing is, I think, I don't actually think they automatically seal juvenile records. I think it's a process you have to go through. So it could be possible that her juvenile record isn't sealed and that Mrs. Collins is assuming they're sealed. Also, the judge in this court has the power to unseal.
Right, and you need to file a motion. We're not doing this orally.
Okay, so I got
File the appropriate motion, not just saying, I want to unseal it. You need to have the case law that tells me what I can do. And I'm not even sure I have jurisdiction over this individual's juvenile records.
Your Honor, say her records are not sealed by some chance, that her records are not sealed.
So juvenile records are always, I think
Automatically sealed?
we're using the word sealed, but I mean juvenile records are basically protected, I think is the right word.
Right.
So, and sealed is something that we use when we say, you know, let's say someone gets a DUI and then 10 years later they want it sealed and it's sealed. That's different than juvenile records. They're somewhat protected because it's a minor's records. So if you wish to have the court determine whether or not you can get into those juvenile records, you'll need to file a motion with the applicable law that allows you to do that.
Yes, Your Honor, I'll be moving it to get her protected records in court. Everybody uses the word seal and everything, so I get caught up in using the word seal, but I know they're not sealed, they're just protected. I think with a case of this magnitude, I think it's very important to get her records.
Okay, so file the motion. All right, so while he is filling that out, would you bring them in and line them up, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
for entrance of the prospective jury. All members of the prospective jury are present, Your Honor.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. We are on the record in C340075, State of Nevada, versus Raymond Davis. The record will reflect the presence of Mr. Davis with his standby counsel, Mr. House, the Deputy District Attorney, Ms. Collins, all other officers of the court. Do both parties stipulate to the presence of the jury on your panel?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
And do you stipulate to the presence of the panel, Mr. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and are the parties ready to proceed?
State is ready.
Ready.
Thank you. Oh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. You are in Department 6. I'm the presiding judge in this department. My name is Jacqueline Bluth. You've been called upon today to serve as a juror in a criminal case. There are a total of 9 charges in this case. Those include sexual assault with a minor under 14 years of age, open or gross lewdness, and lewdness with a child under the age of 14. We expect this trial to go into next week. Hopefully closing arguments would be around Tuesday or Wednesday. Our trials generally run from no earlier than 9:30, and I don't let the trials go past 5 o'clock in the evening. Ultimately, 14 of you will be moving forward to be selected as the actual jurors in this case. In this country, we place great faith in our citizens as jurors to reach fair and objective decisions. Part of what you're doing here is you're being good citizens of our country and our community. Jury duty is a civic responsibility like obeying laws, voting, and paying taxes. We appreciate the fact that you responded to the jury summons and showed up willing to do your job. It's important what you are doing here, and I firmly believe in this right that we all enjoy by being citizens of the United States. I hope that you enjoy your experience as a juror, for those of you that are selected, and that you find it rewarding. Even with everything that I just said, I know that it is a hardship for many of you, and that it's inconvenient because you have jobs, you have families, you have all sorts of other things that you should be doing and that you need to be doing. So please don't think that I don't recognize that. I actually received my own jury summons a couple of weeks ago, so I get it. The issue is I want you to think of how you would feel if you were an individual involved in a trial. and how much you would want someone to be fair and reasonable and to believe that they needed to be here and be doing a good job. The other thing I want you to consider is that just because you may get out of this jury service, it doesn't necessarily mean that you get to leave the doors and go home. So let's say you bring up a reason why you shouldn't be serving on this jury, then you actually go down to jury services and they may put you into another jury panel in a different department. So while this may seem long to you, a week or a day over a week, there are some trials going on right now that actually last several months. So 6 days should be actually looking pretty decent when in comparison to some of our civil trials that are going on that are lasting several months. So let me take this opportunity to introduce my court staff to you. You've already met Marshall O'Kelly. His job is to maintain order and security in the courtroom. He's also my representative to the jury. Anything you need, any problems that you may have, any questions that you need asked, just see the marshal and he'll make sure that those issues, questions, problems are brought to my attention. Please keep in mind though, he cannot talk to you about anything regarding the case. To my far left is Deanna Takis. She is what's referred to as a court reporter. In the olden days, we used to have reporters, right? So there'd be an individual who'd sit in front of the judge and she'd report everything and you'd see her clicking. That's not how it's done most of the time now. It's actually recording. So everything that we're doing in here is being recorded. It will at a later time be typed out. While we're on the topic of everything being recorded, you will see that there are several cameras throughout the courtroom. What I want you to know, and it's very important to me that you know, is that jurors are never recorded. Your faces are never recorded. Those cameras are actually for security purposes. So if you're selected as a juror, it's not like there's going to be this recording of you or having conversations or anything like that. I know a lot of people really get a little bit nervous when they see those cameras. On my immediate left is Keith Reed. He is my court clerk. He swears in the witnesses, marks exhibits, and keeps track of evidence and prepares minutes of the proceedings for the court record. Next to me is Shannon Reed. She is following Mr. Keith Reed. They are not related. But she is shadowing him because she's also going to be the court clerk. You may also see my law clerk, which is Miss Nicole Rudy. She is a recent graduate of law school, and she's with me for a year, and lucky to have her. She helps me with researching the law, helping out with all things that I need help with. You'll also see my judicial executive assistant. Her name is Crystal Jacobs. She comes in and out throughout the process, handing me papers, things like that. But she makes sure everything's running smoothly in the back. What I'm going to do now is the state is going to stand up, introduce herself. She's going to give you a quick fact pattern of what is involved in this case. It's by no means an opening statement. She's just going to give you a little information so you can kind of understand where this case is going. And then she's going to read a list of witnesses. Please make sure you hear the names that she calls, because later I'll be asking you if you recognize any of those names. Ms. Collins.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Clark County DA's office, thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Chief Deputy District Attorney Stacey Collins. I've been assigned to prosecute the case of the state of Nevada versus Raymond Davis here in Las Vegas, Clark County, between January of 2014 and July of 2015. Defendant is charged with sexual assault on a minor under the age of 14, lewdness with a minor under the age of 14, and open and gross lewdness. Those acts occurred in his apartment over in the area of Nellis. The named victims in the indictment are Vanessa Robinson and China Rowells. In addition to those people, those young women, the state may call, not all of these people, but some of them, Jeffrey Calzada, Haley Ferris, Erica Munoz, Ashley Heredia Perez, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Detective Huth, Paul Martinez, Roxana Martinez, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Detective Arturo Martinez, Cecilia O'Hare, Tyler Peterson, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Officer Ralat, Carmen Roca, Isaiah Roca, Esther Rodriguez Brown, Detective, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Detective Donnie Shane, Eric Story, Adriano Walker. If you recognize any of those people, or think that you may recognize any of them, please let the judge know, and she'll discuss it with you.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, now would be the time for you to introduce yourself and give a list of any witnesses that you intend to call.
I'm Raymond Davis. I'm the defendant in this case. I no longer have paid counsel due to the fact that the state...
So Mr. Davis is representing himself in this matter. He has standby counsel, Mr. Augustus Claus, who's sitting to Mr. Davis's right, which it's anyone's right in the United States to represent themselves if they so wish. Mr. Davis?
You guys know what Alexa is? That's what he is. He's basically my encyclopedia. He cannot help me in any way. I had paid counsel.
Mr. Davis, you have to list the witnesses. That's okay. That's all right.
It's okay. Phones are allowed.
Well, no, actually they're not. So you can have them on your person, but they have to be turned off. Don't worry about it. It happens all the time. No biggie.
If it's up to me, you guys can have your phone.
Mr. Davis.
So, what they did was the state basically, I'm on my own. So, I'm at my life. They have tape.
Approach.
She basically said that I'm about the child molestation and stuff, so I'm bringing up. So I can tell them that why I don't have an attorney. I didn't choose not to have an attorney. No, I mean, you want to give me a public defender.
I did it or I did?
Why? I'm not eligible for a public defender.
I told you. What you mean because of how much you make?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lie. I'm not indigent.
Okay. But I gave you the opportunity to continue the trial to get counsel. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said no, and we did that for the campus because you wanted your trial to start today, right?
Right.
Okay. So right now, it's your opportunity to discuss the facts that you pled not guilty and to name the witnesses.
So I can't put in stuff like she put in stuff, saying that, oh, under 13, 14 and stuff like that.
That's not the purpose of what's going on right now. The purpose of what's going on right now is simply to familiarize the jurors with the case.
Yeah,
in terms of the witnesses
right.
and the charges, to determine if they know any of the witnesses, or if by the nature of the charges they wouldn't be able to sit fairly and impartially. But it's not to argue out the case. Ultimately, you'll have a chance to argue out the case during your opening statement.
Okay.
But you don't do that now.
Okay.
All you're trying to do is sort out those jurors who can be fair and impartial, or by the very nature of the charges, or the witnesses would not be able to. But it's not a long explanation. And look, this is jury. This is one thing that we talk about
Right.
the selection process. Opening statement, something different.
Okay.
This is jury selection.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So go ahead and go.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, just no more mention about life or periods of time because
So the law says that sentencing is completely up to the judge. So the jury is not allowed to know.
They're not allowed to know that I'm got.
That's what the law says.
So they're not allowed to know I'm fighting for my life.
No.
Okay.
All right.
It's gonna be hard to keep that out, but
Well, it's
I'll try.
now ordered because that's the law. They are not going to bring that up.
okay.
They're not allowed to know. Because
Mm.
sentencing is completely up to me. If sentencing were up to them, then yes, they get to know
Okay.
the law in regards to the sentencing guidelines. But that's not the case. Sentencing
I never knew that.
That's okay. Now you do. So let's keep it moving. Mr. Davis.
So basically what I got was a scolding because I don't know what I'm doing. So it's not much I can tell you guys, but I can go over my witness list. I can't tell you guys anything else. So one of my witnesses that will be coming is Terry King. Another one is Zesta Brooks. Another one is Eric Shipp. Another one is Claudia Dominguez. Stephanie Espinoza, Fred Wolf, Kiera Andrews, Dan Heimiller, LaShonda Henry, Kenny Flowers, and Tony Jennings.
Are you done?
I would like to thank you guys all for being here. I know this is a pain in the ass.
I'm sorry, it's a pain what?
Pain in the ass.
No, we don't speak like that in court.
Okay. I've been called to two different juries, and I didn't like it either, so I just hope that you guys are comfortable, you know. And I'm not strict. They're strict. I'm not strict, you guys.
Okay. Anything else about your witnesses, sir?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Have a seat. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and call the roll of the panel of prospective jurors. When your name is called, please go ahead and answer, present or here, all right? Christina Stewart?
Here.
Kenya Jessamy?
Here.
Randall Hand?
Here.
Randy Dickinson?
Here.
Dina Liu?
Here.
Cecilia Jacques?
Here.
Larry Johnson?
Here.
Gary Burris?
Here.
Jeremy Failing?
Here.
Delia Velez?
Here.
John Barker?
Present.
Dean Blomgren?
Here.
Stephen Cole?
Here.
Arlene Tapasio?
Here.
Karen Gillard?
Here.
Chad Hayes?
Here.
Jackie Landy?
Here.
Yukachi Warji?
Here.
Amanda Hardesty?
Here.
Angela Pearson?
Here.
Fred Barker?
Present.
Joshua Cerrone?
Here.
Frederick Jensen?
Here.
Grant Nebeker? Tabitha Williams?
Here.
Giselle Carmona?
Here.
Sean Armstrong?
Here.
Valeria Mendoza? Brian Albertson?
Here.
Corey Hardin?
Here.
Vincent Mays?
Here.
Tammy Esposito?
Here.
Christine S. Galombre?
Here.
Jessica Brown?
Here.
Renee Poole?
Here.
Patricia Hagan?
Here.
Jeffrey Obershaw?
Here.
Maxine Roman?
Here.
Jessica Narkonsky?
Here.
Lenithia Harris?
Here.
Jason Gordon?
Here.
Suzanne Hughes?
Here.
Maurice Titus?
Present.
Antoinette Aragon?
Here.
Adriana Guerrero Herrera?
Here.
Ariel Pantoja?
Here.
James Husels?
Here.
Irene Hernandez?
Here.
Harold Correa Arias?
Here.
Jermaine Colandrino?
Here.
Quinn Chi Vu?
Here.
Othello Bland?
Here.
Robert Tynes?
Here.
Robert Bell?
Here.
Joyce Walton?
Here.
Maria Guerrero Fierros?
Here.
Dominique Southern?
Here.
Timothy Perez?
Here.
Vance Spires?
Here.
Keone Quantico?
Here.
All right, the record reflects that all prospective jurors are present. Is there anyone whose name was not called that is present in this room? All right, so we're about to begin the actual jury selection process. This is part of the case where the parties and their lawyers have the opportunity to get to know a little bit about you in order to help them come to their own conclusions about your ability to be fair and impartial to both sides so that they can decide who they think would be the best jurors in this case. This process is actually done under oath, so will you please stand and raise your right hand so the clerk can administer the oath.
Everyone please stand, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that you will well and truly answer such questions that may be put to you, touched upon your qualifications as jurors in the case of issue, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you. So I want to tell you a little bit about how this process will go. So first I'm going to ask some general questions while you're all seated here where you are in your current positions. These questions will be directed to everyone in the jury box, which is everybody to my right, as well as everyone who's out in the gallery. After those general questions, the focus of the questions will actually turn on the individuals to my right. I refer to you guys as those in the jury box. Then after I'm done, the lawyers, Ms. Collins and then Mr. Davis will have an opportunity to ask some specific questions. The questions that you will be asked during this process are not intended to embarrass you or unnecessarily pry into your personal affairs. But it is important that the parties and their attorneys know enough about you to make this important decision about whether or not they feel you could be fair and impartial to their side or to both sides. There are no right or wrong answers to the questions that will be asked of you. The only thing I ask is that you answer the questions honestly and completely as you can. You will take an oath to answer, you just took an oath to answer all of the questions truthfully, and you must do so. Remaining silent when you have information about a question would actually be a violation of that oath. If a juror violates this oath, it not only may result in having to try this case all over again, but it may also result in having to need to impose penalties against that juror personally. So then it's just important to be honest and complete with your answers as possible. If you don't understand a question, please just ask me or one of the parties to repeat it, and I'll be happy to do so. Also, when certain questions are asked, they are sometimes of a very sensitive nature. For example, let's say one of the questions is, have you ever been the victim of a crime? Sometimes there are individuals who have been a victim of a crime, but they don't necessarily want to announce it in front of everybody because it is so sensitive, and that's completely fine. You just need to let me know that, and then I'll ask that you approach, and you don't have to do it in front of everybody. That happens all the time in my courtroom, and I'm happy to do it. I know it's hard to share information, and so I try to make this as easy as possible for you, okay? At some point during the process of selecting a jury, the attorney for both sides will have the right to ask that a particular person not serve as a juror. This is called a challenge. There are two types of challenges. The first is referred to as a challenge for cause. A challenge for cause is a request to excuse a juror because the juror might have a difficult time being fair and impartial. The second type of challenge is what's referred to as a peremptory challenge. A peremptory challenge means that a juror can be excused from duty without either of the parties having to give a reason for the excusal. In this case, each side will be given 9 peremptory challenges. Please do not be offended should one of the parties choose to excuse you. These are simply just a part of the process designed to allow the parties and their attorneys to select a fair and impartial jury. So once all the challenges are exercised, we will have 14 qualified jurors. 2 of those 14 will be designated as alternates, and then the 12 remaining jurors will deliberate in the case. I'm now going to ask some questions of the entire group. If you wish to respond to a question, please raise your hand. And then when I get to you, please stand, or no, you do not need to stand, but there is a badge number on your badge. If you would just give me the last 3 of that badge number and your name so we know on the record who is speaking. Also, is there anyone who has issues hearing me right now? Because we do have headsets that make everything a lot easier. So maybe please get a headset. Marshall, Tyler, please. Anybody else? 2, 3, uh-oh. I think we only have 2, don't we? 2. Okay. All right, so let's do the first 2.
Volume on your side.
Ms. Tapas, if we ask one of the other departments, will it work with our system if we get a third one? Okay. Would someone mind emailing Ms. Jacobs and asking her to get us another headset from the other department? All right, speaking up a little bit, how's that coming through the headsets? Good?
Much better.
All right. And ma'am, would you raise your hand next to, you raised your hand that you couldn't hear? Yes, what's your last name? Hagen. Hagen. I'm going to get you another headset, but until then I'm just going to try to speak louder. Can you hear me okay right now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll try to keep it up until we get that headset, okay?
Thank you.
All right. And then if I'm speaking too loud, for those of you who have the headsets on, just turn me down. All right, we're good. Okay. So, first question is there anyone who has a disability or a medical issue that might impact their ability to serve as a juror in this case? A disability or medical issue. Marshall O'Kelly, could you please pass it into this first row right here? The gentleman in the red pants. Hi, sir.
Hello. Yes, my name is Fred Parker, number 0394. I've been recently diagnosed with cancer, and I may be starting medical procedures.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. When was the diagnosis?
Diagnosis was in May.
May.
And-
And then what about when do you believe treatment would be starting?
Tomorrow, Saturday, I have a colonoscopy, and afterwards I'm supposed to be scheduling my actual surgery. So I'm not sure how soon I can get my surgery, but as soon as possible after I have my colonoscopy on this Saturday.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much, sir. I thought I saw a few other.
Can I approach?
Yes.
Can I approach?
Yes. And could the parties approach, please?
Number
Just
3.
1 second, let him get up if that's okay. And then would you mind getting right up next to the microphone?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. And tell me your badge number and name.
Number 353, Gary Burris. Your Honor, I have a brain tumor, and it's eliminated my hearing my left ear, and I have tinnitus so bad in my right ear I cannot hear, and my ability to concentrate for long periods of time, as would be necessary here, would be unfair to the defendant. I do not think I could serve. I put this in my online thing. They did not reply. They just told me to show up.
Okay.
So
I
I would
appreciate you telling me.
appreciate, I don't think I would be fair in any case.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No,
Okay.
for the record, and I'll be back with you.
You will. Thank you.
All right. And then back. Yes. Thank you. Is that Mr. Jensen? Yes. Badge number 403. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I have third stage kidney disease, and also under stress I have gastroenteritis, and it causes that to flare up and put pain into my chest.
Okay. Thank you. Were there any names out in the audience? I'm sorry, hands. Were there any hands out in the audience? All right, let the record reflect no further response. Is there anyone here who has been convicted of a felony? Showing no response. So like I stated, we anticipate this case going into Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And like I was saying, I do recognize that serving on a jury is almost always a personal hardship as well as a financial hardship. For that reason, no matter which courtroom you're here, no matter which courtroom that you are in here in the Regional Justice Center, financial hardship is not generally considered an excuse to get out of serving as a juror. However, you might be confronted with unique inconveniences or hardships that would impact your service in this particular trial at this particular time. So when in a moment I'm going to ask if there's anyone who has a hardship that means they wouldn't be able to serve. So let me give you some examples of hardships. So someone who already has out of state or out of Las Vegas travel plans that can show me a hotel booking or a plane cruise, something like that. Someone who has multiple medical appointments or a surgery, a loved one that has a surgery. Almost all of the time, financial hardships are not considered. Those are usually full-time students who need to be in school, can't generally miss a week of school. So things like that. So at this point in time, is there anyone who has a hardship that they believe would prevent them from serving on this jury? Yes, ma'am.
Arlene Topacio, 0372.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, because I'm like this week, Thursday, I'm leaving to California. My cousin is in ICU, so I have to, and then I'm coming back here Thursday. So I don't.
Thursday to Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And back row in the number 4 spot. That would be Mr. Randy Dickinson, badge number 330. Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm getting married on the 21st and at Angel Park, and have wedding guests starting to arrive in town next Wednesday. So, I mean, I don't have a problem, except if it starts running over, then that would be an issue.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much,
All right.
sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then in the way back, Marshall O'Kelly.
My name is Maria Guerrero. My number is 475. I'm a full-time student at UNLV. I'm a biochem major. I have like 3 classes. And that's just it.
Okay, what time are your classes?
They start at 2 and they run around 7:30.
Is that every day or a couple days a week?
It depends on the day. Monday, Wednesday, that's it. Tuesday, it's 1 to 4. And then Thursday, it's 10 to like 8:30.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other hands that I missed? Yes, ma'am. To your right, Marshall.
My name is Maria Guerrero. I'm sick, the arthritis, and I have appointment in Mexico with doctor, and I can do attending because I need replace the medicine
When is your appointment?
in this month, and 20.
On September 20th?
And 20. And I need make a test analysis
Okay. All right.
before 1 week before see the doctor.
So you need to go for testing 1 week before you see the doctor on the 20th. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And that testing that you have to go to, is that in Mexico or is the testing here?
No, it's in Mexico.
Okay, so you actually have to do the testing a week before the 20th. I mean, wouldn't that be like this week, the testing then? Because the
Yes,
20th is in
the-
10 days.
The next week.
All right. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right. Can the parties approach, please? Oh, sorry. Go back. Sorry. Sorry.
Good afternoon.
It's just the receiver. No, you're fine, just stand up.
Right, stand up?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just not reaching
Oh, okay. I feel like I would be a very big
I'm so
conflict.
sorry. You just have to give me your name.
Oh, I'm
and badge
sorry.
number.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I am Antoinette Aragon. My badge number is 060473.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. I've been in Henderson, Nevada, Las Vegas area for 9 years, and I feel like I'd be a big conflict of interest because I cut a lot of people's hair. I've been a hairdresser for 29 years, and I cut chiefs, I cut federal judge, I cut a lot of people's hair. I have my book right here. And I would really feel like I'd be a conflict of interest because I have a big heart and I don't feel like I would do the job that I would need to do for the person, you know, in the courtroom. So I just feel like if I can, you know, not serve, I'd be okay with that.
Wait, I'm just so confused because you're throwing a lot at me. So
Okay.
there's a difference between cutting people's hair and then having a big heart. So wait a second.
Yeah.
So you gotta have to break this down. Help me. What does cutting people's hair have to do with it?
Because I talk to a lot of people, and I know a lot of people. I know doctors, I know children, I know I've cut about 1 million people's hair in my life. I'm not going to lie about that. And I would really feel like I'd just be a conflict of interest because I just, you know, I know a lot, put it that way.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I talk to a lot of people, a lot of people every day, day in, day out.
Okay, but everybody talks to a lot of people every day. The issue
Right.
is, do you know anything about this case and can you be fair?
I would not know anything yet, but if I were to see people, you know, I couldn't tell you until I actually see
Did you
people.
recognize any of the names of the witnesses that were called by either?
I always know the first names, but I don't know last names.
Okay.
Okay?
And then I'm sorry, what was the part about the big heart?
Oh, I said I'm a person that I wouldn't be good, you know, for a juror because I'm just a person that does have a big heart. So, you know, I'm very, very good with people. But at the same time, I don't think I would, you know, I know too many people. And if, you know, something were to happen, you know, it could be conflict of interest. That's how I feel.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. All right. Anybody else who has an answer to that question? All right. Parties approach, please. Okay.
You got it.
badge number 330, Mr. Vincent. Can you hear me? He is the individual that's getting married on 9/21. He says that as long as we don't go past that Wednesday, he's going to be fine. So I think we're okay there.
We're going way past Wednesday.
No, next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
How are we going to do
All my witnesses are coming in. It's about 12, 15 on that list. They're all coming in.
12 to 15 witnesses are coming in?
Yes, I said that before. I mean, I gave her my list. They're all coming in.
I have what Mr. Mueller filed and withdrew. I haven't seen anything from him, but
No, I gave a list and it's over 15 people on that list. I just named them when I was sitting at the table.
Right, but we're going to be able to call. We're going to be able to some of them this week.
No, they're all coming.
No, they're coming. I mean, it's time for them to come.
Oh, yeah. Certain days they're coming. Right.
So if on Friday it's time for you to call witnesses, they're going to be here on Friday. So why would we go way past Wednesday?
Oh, I thought you're going to do 15 witnesses on Friday?
No, I mean, we could do 6 on Friday and 7 on
Oh, okay. I didn't understand. I thought they did like 2 here, 2 there. I mean, because there's going to be a lot of cross and.
Okay, so badge number 343 is the individual with the brain tumor who can't hear. I think we should probably let that person know.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think, Mr. Davis? The individual with the brain tumor?
Is this one of my presumptions?
No. We're just
We're agreeing. We're agreeing, right? We're just agreeing on who should we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
The individual.
Yeah, I think I agree that they all should go. All the one. No, not all the jury. The ones who all spoke out.
And that the one who trooped to California.
372.
Are you fine with that, Mr. Davis?
Yes.
The one that was recently diagnosed with cancer, badge number 394.
Yes.
The one that has the third stage kidney.
Yes.
Badge number 403. And I'm not inclined to release the person who has Bruce's hair. It's ridiculous.
I think she should go because she doesn't sound too stable to me. I mean, really. I mean, what her hair got to do with it?
Right, that's exactly right.
It's a big hard
She's
now.
trying to get on the jury service. That's nothing to do with cutting hair.
Perhaps you make her stick around, Your Honor, and
I
send
say
her
let her
civil
sit
jury,
around and
perhaps.
then we'll figure out if we're going to cut her.
All right, so she's going to stay for now with understanding that we're going to let her go, but she's going to stay here and deal with it.
Okay.
Because that's ridiculous.
The UNLV student?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely she should go.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't get the badge number of the lady that had to go to Mexico.
510.
She didn't say it.
So that's 510, which is Maria Guerrero Fierros. She has an appointment in Mexico with her doctor, but she has to be there next week for testing. Honestly, I think that English is...
She don't understand much here.
All right, so is everybody okay with us releasing her?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, if you hear your name, please stand up and go down to the 3rd floor. You've been released from this courtroom. So that would be badge number 353, Gary Burris. Badge number 372, Arlene Pasio. Badge number 394, Fred Barker. Badge number 403, Frederick Jensen. Badge number 475, Adriana Guerrero Herrera. And badge number 510, Maria Fierros Guerrero. And in regards to Mr. Burris, badge number 353, please let the jury commissioner know that due to your medical condition, you will be released from all jury service today. You won't be going to a different courtroom. You're welcome. All right, and Mr. Reed, could you please replace the jurors in seats? And then Marshall O'Kelly, could you please provide the second headset to the female in need?
Next, in seat number 8 will be badge number 441, Christine Escalambard. And in seat number 14, badge number 443, Jessica Brown. number 21, badge number 448, and that will be Renee Poole. And then seat number 23, badge number 449, Patricia Hayden.
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Ms. Collins was just asking a question. Ms. Poole, how's the headset working?
Very well.
Good. Ms. Hagan? Ms. Hagan, how's the headset working?
Fine.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right. Are any of you acquainted with myself or anyone that's a part of my court staff? Please raise your hand if you feel like you're acquainted with me or anybody with my court staff. Showing no response. Do any of you know each other? Showing no response. Are any of you acquainted with Mr. Davis or his standby counsel, Mr. Klaus? Showing no response. Are any of you acquainted with Ms. Collins, the Chief Deputy District Attorney? Are any of you acquainted with District Attorney Steve Wolfson or any of the employees of the Clark County District Attorney's Office? Showing no response. Are any of you acquainted with any of the witnesses that were listed by either of the parties in their opening remarks? Showing no response. Has anyone here been engaged in law enforcement or had anyone close to them, either best friend or family, engaged in law enforcement? All right.
Kemi Chesney, 0313. My father, the police officer, he's retired, New
Okay.
York.
And where, so did you say New York?
Yep,
All right. And were you raised by both your mother and your father?
yes.
And is there anything about your father being a police officer that you think would impair you from being fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Randall Hans, 0322. I was an ex-deputy sheriff,
All right, and where were you a deputy sheriff at?
Hamilton County, Ohio.
And how long ago was that?
15 years,
Okay. What do you do now?
work in casinos.
All right. Is there anything about your previous employment that you feel would impair you in being fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else in the box that I missed? Okay, sorry, all the way.
Cecilia Jacques, 0346,
Thank you, Michelle.
a friend of Michael Humphreys, prosecuting attorney.
Okay,
I don't know if he's still here or not.
all right. Is there anything about your relationship with that individual that makes you feel that you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides in this case?
No.
All right, thank you. If you wouldn't mind passing that in front of you. Yes. Your name, sir.
John Barker, badge number 0356. I know Detective John Beckerly with Metro, basically through marriage with my nephew, his wife, and that.
Okay. Is there anything about that friendship or relationship that you feel would impair you from being fair and impartial to both sides in this case?
No.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in that row? All right, in the row in front of you, please. Name and badge number.
Chad Hayes, 0375.
Yes, Mr.
My
Hayes.
fiance is a CO.
Is a corrections officer for Metro?
Yeah.
And is there anything about your relationship with your fiance that makes you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides in this case?
Just stories I've heard.
Okay. So, you know, we all come from different walks of life and hear all sorts of stories. when you are tasked with being a juror, the only thing you're really allowed to bring into the courtroom is your common sense. Everything else you have to keep outside of these four walls. So hearsay, things you might have heard, stories you might have heard or been a part of, really. But the true test comes down to, can you listen to the witnesses, can you look at the evidence, and can you base your decision purely on that? Is that something you can do as a juror?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Anyone else in that row?
My name is Tricia Hagan.
Yes, Ms.
My
Hagan.
number is 0449. My brother-in-law was a Metro detective.
All right, and when was that?
He's been retired for like maybe 15 years.
Okay. Is there anything about your brother's previous employment that makes you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hagan. I appreciate that.
Grant Nebeker, 404. My dad's a police lieutenant with the school district.
Okay, and same last name?
Yeah.
All right. Anything about your father's employment that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. First row in the audience, if there's any hands, I thought I saw one. Yes, thank you.
Way for me to answer that without it being public record?
That would be public record? No.
Yes.
With that, but here's the thing. I don't necessarily need to know exactly who you know and how. I just need to know if it would impede your ability from being fair and impartial to both sides.
No, it won't.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
My name is Vincent Mays. My badge number is 0436. My girlfriend's a correctional officer.
Okay, and where is she a corrections officer at?
Here. I don't know where.
Okay. All right. Is anything about that make you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir. The next row. Anybody hands in the next row? Oh, I apologize.
Tammy Esposito, number 0437. A good friend of mine is assistant district county attorney. So, yeah,
Is that
just
here?
for full disclosure. Yeah,
And
yeah.
her name.
It's actually him, David Bailey.
All right. And is he a city attorney?
Yeah, I think he might be a city attorney, but I'm not 100% sure. We don't really talk about our employment that much. I just want full disclosure.
Yeah. Anything about that relationship that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
All right. The second row. Was there any hands in the second row that I missed?
Maxine Rohan, badge number 0453.
Yes, ma'am.
My son is a correction officer here at Metro in Las Vegas.
All right. Anything about your son's employment that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
No, not at all, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
You want to come?
Anthony Aragon, 060473. Anthony Aragon, 060473. I know Mr. Roger. I know Alex Perez. I know Kevin Empathy. Henderson. I mean, I know police officers. Would it be hard for me to, be up here? I don't know. I've never been here, so I couldn't say.
All right. Well, none of those individuals were named as witnesses. So,
Okay.
do you feel like just people that you don't know, like police officers, that would prevent you in being fair?
I couldn't answer that. I don't know.
So, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time.
Yeah. It's because I know a lot. I know a lot of people. I can talk about anything. And I know these people. And, I don't know if I'd be that good, like I said, of a candidate for this. But, you guys got to make your decision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in that row?
Maurice Titus, badge number 471. My nephew is a Memphis police officer.
Is there anything about your nephew's employment that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
No,
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
thank you.
Anybody else in that row? Did I miss a hand? Right next to you.
Suzanne Hughes, 0467. My spouse was a police officer in Missouri about 15 years ago.
All right. Is there anything about that employment and that relationship that you feel may prevent you from being fair and impartial to both sides in this case?
No.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in that row that I missed? Anybody else to my left?
Good afternoon. Tim Perez, badge number 514. I'm a retired warden in the California State Prison.
All right, and how long were you warden for?
I was in the department for 30 years, warden for 4 years.
Okay. So when you say you were in the department, so I guess you were in the department for 26 years, what were you doing when you weren't the warden?
I started as a correctional officer and promoted all the way through the ranks.
Okay. Anything about your previous employment that you feel would prevent you from being fair in this case?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Did I miss any other hands? All right, thank you. Showing no further response. Okay. Does anyone know anything about this case other than what you were briefly told? So, seen it on the TV, in a newspaper, Facebook, Twitter, anything like that. In this day of social media, we have to list all of them, and I'm sure I'm missing some. But does anyone think that they have heard about this case or seen anything about it? Showing no response. All right. So my next questions are going to be just to those of you that are to my right in the jury box. What I'll say for the rest of you that aren't there yet is that, as you have seen before, as soon as someone over here is excused, the next person from there goes there, and you'll be asked the same question. So it goes a lot smoother if you already know your answer to the questions, okay? All right, so same rules apply over here. If you have an answer, just go ahead and raise your hand. Let me know the name and the last three of the badge. You don't need to stand. The only people that need to stand are in the very back because there's problems with the audio that make it a little bit easier to hear if you stand. Okay, so does anyone have any philosophical, religious, moral beliefs that you feel would prevent you from serving as a fair and impartial juror in this case? Showing no response. Is there anyone who has had what's referred to as a negative contact with law enforcement? So what I mean by this is, let's say you get pulled over for speeding, or you have some type of contact with law enforcement where you feel like you weren't treated with the dignity and respect in which you should have been treated. So you left that contact. You may have not even done anything wrong. You could have just been walking your dog and you feel like the police stopped you and they didn't treat you how you should have been treated. Does anyone have a situation like that? Nobody? All right, showing no response. For Mr. Davis and Ms. Collins, are there any witnesses that will be called in this case that would use any type of interpreter?
No.
No, you're not. Okay. At some point in this trial, if you are selected, jurors actually get a little notepad, and they can take notes throughout the trial. And if you're selected, I'll go through the rules and regulations about that. But another thing that jurors can do that a lot of people don't know is you actually get to ask questions. And so after the parties ask questions and they're completely done, I'll say, do any members of the jury have any questions? You'll raise your hand, you'll write it out, and then the question will come to me. Here's the one caveat to that. Your questions are subject to the same rules that the parties' questions are subject to. So there may be a legal reason why I can't ask that question. So the key thing I need to know is that you won't hold it against anybody or think that people are trying to hide something from you if your question doesn't ask. So basically, my question to you is if you ask a question, are you going to be so bothered by the fact that it isn't asked by myself that you're going to blame it on somebody else or think that there's some conspiracy to keep you from knowing all of the answers and ethics? Showing no response. Under our system system of criminal justice, there are three principles that apply no matter what courtroom you are in the United States. Those are, number one, that the charging document filed in this case is merely an accusation and is not evidence of guilt. Number two, that Mr. Davis is presumed innocent. And number three, that the state must prove the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Is there anyone who has an issue with any of those premises that I've just spoken of? Showing no response. At the end of the case, you will be given what's referred to as jury instructions. Each crime that the defendant is charged with has certain elements. So you'll be instructed on what those crimes are, the definitions are, etc. When you are selected as a juror, you take an oath to follow the law. Is there anyone here that would have trouble following the instructions on the law that I give you, regardless of whether or not you thought it was a good law or a bad law or a right law or a wrong law? You still have to follow the law. Is there anyone who has a problem with that or doesn't think they would be able to follow that? Okay. May we hear from that juror, please?
My name is Deanna Liu, number 336. I believe that for as a foreign born English as second language, I might not be knowing all the law, and I don't think that I will be a good citizen for that because of English barrier. So I don't think that I will be the good candidate.
And how long have you been in the United States?
I've been in the United States since 1984.
Since 1984?
Correct.
And what do you do for work?
I am an investor for myself, and I'm a realtor as well, just do a little bit. But most of the laws that I still don't quite understand.
So,
because I came here when I was like teenager, 16.
So out of everything that I've been saying today, if you were out of 100%, how much would you say you have understood today?
70% will understand what you're saying.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
My name is Delia Velez, 355. I have problems with my English too. I understand, but I cannot say too long sentence, so sometimes I don't understand things.
And how long have you been in the United States?
20 years.
And where do you work?
Paris,
And what do you do?
GRA,
What?
GRA mate, May, GRA, guest room attendance.
Oh, got you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Out of 100%, how much would you say that you're understanding?
Like 60.
60?
Yes, someone thing you say, I don't understand. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other answers? Oh, yes, I saw Ms.
May I approach?
You may. Parties approach, please. Just 1 second. Can I have your name and badge number?
Renee Poole, 0448.
And then if you wouldn't mind getting close to the microphone so that it picks you up on my recorder. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just waiting for the right question. I was abused by my father.
And was that physical abuse or sexual?
Sexual.
What's your badge number again?
Yeah, it is 448. And do you feel like, well, okay, first of all, did that go on once or for a long period of time?
For a little bit, yeah.
Like under a year?
It was so long ago, but several years.
Several years. All right. And you need any child?
No, I had a brother.
All right. Did it happen to your brother as well?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you ever tell him?
No. Not then.
I know. When was the first time you tested?
Probably 10 years ago.
How did it end up stopping?
They actually got a divorce.
Do you feel because of what had occurred in your life that it would prevent you from being fair?
Yes.
Ms. Collins, would you like any follow-up? Mr. Davis, would you like any follow-up?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you for being honest.
The parties, would you stay? Go ahead and sit down. Thank you so much, ma'am. All right. So, how did you guys feel about the two ESL speakers?
I don't have a problem getting rid of that. I mean, they don't understand English. I mean, they wouldn't understand case law or nothing, or
Okay, so you want to get rid of, would you like to excuse them by agreement?
by agreement, yes.
Yes, okay. And then the female that just left the bench,
Oh,
would you
yeah,
like to excuse her?
without a question.
Okay, Ms. Collins? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, by stipulation, the court's going to thank and excuse the following individuals. Badge number 336, Deanna Liu. Badge number 355, Delia Velez. And badge number 448, Renee Poole. Thank you. And Mr. Reed, would you please fill those seats?
Yes, sure. Next in seat number 5 will be badge number 452, Jeffrey Obershow. Seat number 10, badge number 453, Maxine Rohan. And seat 21, badge number 455, Jessica Narkomsky.
All right. So, for the first row of you in the audience, I am going to run through those questions with you very quickly as well. Do any of you have any philosophical, religious, or other beliefs that you believe would prevent you from sitting as a juror? Showing no response. Have any of you ever been in a situation with law enforcement in which you had a negative contact, where you felt like you weren't treated with the dignity and respect that you should have been treated by those officers? Showing no response. I'm sure, did everyone hear my question in regards to jurors taking notes and writing questions? All right, everyone's shaking their head yes. Is there anyone here who would be so bothered by the fact that their question didn't get asked that they would either take it out on one of the parties or they would feel like things were being hidden from them? Showing no response. Under our system, certain principles apply in every criminal trial. There are 3 of them. Number 1, the charging document filed in this case is merely an accusation and it is not evidence in any way of guilt. Number 2, the defendant in this case, Mr. Davis, is presumed innocent. And number 3, the state must prove that the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Is there anyone here who has an issue with any of those 3 cornerstones of our Constitution and of our system, criminal justice system? Showing no response. Is there anyone here who would have trouble following the law, the jury instructions on the law that I give you, regardless of their personal feelings of whether or not they agreed with that law? Showing no response. Okay. All right, wonderful. So, Marcia O'Kelly, if you wouldn't mind handing it to the juror in seat number 1. We're going to take down some personal information for each of you in the first 32 seconds. So, your name and badge number, ma'am?
Christina Stewart, 304.
Thank you. So we're going to start with Ms. Stewart, badge number 304. Ma'am, how long have you lived in Clark County?
26 years.
And how far did you go in school?
The 12th grade.
Okay. Are you employed?
No.
And when was the last time you were employed?
97.
All right. And what did you do?
I was a housemaid.
Okay. And how long did you do that work for?
4 years.
Are you married, divorced, in a relationship?
Married.
And what does your spouse do?
He's retired.
What did he do before he was retired?
He worked in a hotel as a buyer, merchandise,
Buyer for what?
food,
Okay.
things for the hotel.
Any children?
No.
Have you ever been the victim of a crime? Anything from petty larceny to a pickpocket to robbery?
No.
No. Anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime?
No.
And I should say that that includes crimes of a physical or sexual abuse nature. Anyone, you or anyone close to you?
No.
Have you or anyone close to you been accused of a crime?
I have a brother-in-law that was accused of molesting a young girl
All right. And how long ago was that?
back in the 90s.
Did you keep in touch with that process? Like, did you know what was going on?
No, I was living here in Nevada when that happened in California.
And what ended up happening with that case?
He's in prison right now.
All right. Do you have any personal feelings about that case, of whether it happened, whether he was treated fairly, etc.?
No, but it turns my stomach when I hear young kids getting hurt.
Okay. Is there anything about your brother-in-law's case that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
I don't think I could do it.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
I don't know. I can't talk about it because it upsets my stomach.
All right.
It's painful.
Okay. So the way that I usually explain things like this, and hopefully it kind of breaks it down a little bit, is there are many things that individuals are charged with within our criminal justice system, like sexual assault or homicide or something like that, right? And those are, I don't think, nobody's out there saying I'm pro-sex assault or pro-homicide, right? I mean, I don't think anybody would say that. And these things are difficult to hear and difficult to listen to, but there's a spectrum. So some people on the spectrum is like, I don't really want to hear about it, these things bother me. And then there's another end of the spectrum is, I can't hear about it, I don't want anything to do with this, I cannot be a part of this, I cannot be fair. So where are you at on that spectrum?
I can't be fair. My heart's pounding.
All right. Could you go ahead and pass the microphone to the next individual, please?
Kim Jessamine, 313.
Good afternoon. How long have you lived in Clark County?
It'll be 2 years in December.
And where were you before those 2 years?
Charlotte, North Carolina,
And how long were you in North Carolina for?
19 years.
How far did you go in school?
Associate's degree.
And what was that in? Excuse me.
Psychology.
Are you employed?
Yes.
And what do you do?
I'm IT for Apple.
And how long have you been doing that?
5 years.
Are you married, divorced, single, in a relationship?
Single.
Any children?
Yes.
Boys, girls, both?
Boys.
And their ages, please.
21, 19.
All right. Are any of them employed full-time?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been, you or anyone close to you, ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of physical or sexual abuse?
No.
You or anyone close to you ever been accused of a crime, including crimes of sexual or physical abuse?
No.
Have you ever been a juror before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay. Is there anything about the nature of this case, what you've heard thus far, that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial to either side?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the testimony that you hear and the evidence that is presented, and wait in informing your opinion until the case is ultimately submitted to you as a jury?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Would you mind passing the microphone? Is that Mr. Hance?
It is.
Badge number 322.
Correct.
Sir, how long have you lived in Clark County?
6 years.
And where were you before that?
Spokane, Washington.
And how long were you in Washington for?
Spokane, 10 years.
How far did you go in school?
A little bit of college.
And I had previously asked if you were employed. You're working in the casinos, correct?
Correct.
And what is your specific job title?
Special events rep.
Okay. Married, divorced, single, in a relationship?
Divorced.
And what did your spouse do when you were married?
She was a dog groomer.
Any children?
Yes.
And could you give me the gender and the ages, please?
2 boys, 2 girls. The oldest girl is 19. Next is boy at 16, boy at 15, girl at 13.
The 19-year-old, is she employed full-time?
No.
Ever been the victim, you or anyone close to you, ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of physical or sexual abuse?
While working security at a casino in Washington, I was the 3rd person on a scene of an attempted carjacking.
Okay. So you were the 3rd person on the scene. Was the attempted carjacking, was it still going on?
It was.
All right. So you, at this point in time, because I know you stated you had worked for the police, but at that point in time you were just security, correct?
Correct.
All right. Was there any physical violence towards you during that?
I got lucky, no.
Okay. How do you feel like that situation was handled by the police and investigated?
Good.
Is there anything about that situation that you feel would hamper your ability to be fair, in this case, to either side?
No.
Any other instances?
Nope.
You or anyone close to you been accused of a crime, including crimes of physical or sexual abuse?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that bothers you to the point where you feel like you wouldn't be fair and impartial?
No.
But can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented, and wait informing your opinion until the case is ultimately submitted to you and your fellow jurors to deliberate upon?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right, Mr. Dickinson, badge number 330. Sir, how long have you been in Clark County?
17 years.
And how far did you go in school?
2 years of college.
Are you employed?
Yes.
And what is your job, sir?
I'm in the food service industry and I'm a new business manager.
And your fiance, what does that individual do for work, if any?
She works for a gaming company, one of the casino groups here in town.
Any children?
She has 3, a 25-year-old son, 21-year-old daughter, and an 11-year-old son.
The 25-year-old and 21-year-old, are they employed full-time?
Yes.
Can you tell me what they do, please?
One is a recorder for an attorney or a firm, and the other one works for Giordano's Pizza.
Do you know if the one that is working in the firm, if that's a civil firm or a criminal firm?
I could not tell you that.
Okay. You or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual or physical abuse?
No, just my house was broke into twice in Kansas City, so.
When was that?
Would have been like 94 and maybe 1997.
How did you feel like that was investigated with by the police officers involved?
I think they did all they could do.
Anything about that situation affect you in anywhere here?
No.
Any other instances?
No, ma'am.
What about being accused of a crime you or anyone close to you, including crimes of sexual violence?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No, first time.
Anything about the nature of this case, of what you've heard so far, that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
Can you decide, or can you base your verdict solely on the evidence presented in this case and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you and your fellow jurors for deliberation?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right. Make sure, can I have your bachelor, please?
It's 452. Jeff Oberschelp.
Thank you. All right. Sir, how long have you lived in Clark County?
10 years.
And how far did you go in school?
Bachelor's degree, marketing.
And are you employed?
I am.
What is it that you do?
Executive Vice President.
All right. And are you, well, explain to me, you don't have to explain exactly the company, but just explain to me your job duties, like the field.
It's technology, and I run the client services division.
Married, single, divorced?
Married, 2 girls, 33 and 31.
And what does your spouse do?
She's a CPA.
And your girls, what do they do?
One's in sales, one's a veterinarian.
And do either of them have children?
They do not.
Ever been the victim or anyone close to you been the victim of any type of crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
No.
What about, same question, but in regards to accused?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Was that here in Las Vegas?
Sorry.
Okay. Do you
It was Dallas, Texas,
All right.
and it was a armed robbery.
Were you the foreperson?
I was not.
Did the matter go all the way to verdict?
No, the guy pled.
Was there anything about that experience that made you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair in a similar situation?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial?
No, ma'am.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented here in the courtroom and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you with your fellow jurors?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. You wouldn't mind passing it to Ms. Shaw? Badge number 346. Ms. Shaw, how long have you lived in Clark County?
20 years.
How far did you go in school?
1 year of college.
Are you employed?
Yes.
What is it that you do?
Guest relations and training manager for a casino.
Married, in a relationship, divorced?
I'm widowed.
All right, I'm sorry. What was it that your spouse did when they were alive?
He was a banker.
And any children?
1 son.
And how old is he?
52.
And you look good.
People think he's my brother, but he's my son. Thanks.
All right, so what does he do?
Well, he's not working right now. He had a heart attack.
Oh, okay. What was he doing before the heart attack?
He worked for a towing company. Supervisor. Towing company.
Towing, okay. And does he have any children?
Yes, I have 3 grandsons.
All right, and how old are they?
23, 18, and 15.
The 23-year-old, is he full-time employed?
Yes.
What does he do?
Works for a sign company.
All right. Have you or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual or physical abuse?
No.
Same question, but in the accused. You or anyone close to you ever been accused of a crime?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that? Where was it?
In Seattle, Washington, when I lived there.
How
It was
long ago?
30 years ago. I don't remember much about it.
Do you remember if it was criminal or civil?
Criminal.
Do you remember what the charges were?
Not exactly. I don't.
Was it like a robbery or attempt murder?
No, it was robbery.
It was robbery.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Were you the foreperson?
Yes.
You were the foreperson?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And without telling me what the verdict was, did the jury reach a verdict?
Yes.
Is there anything about that experience that you feel would impair you from being fair and impartial in this case?
No.
Is there anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented and wait in forming your ultimate opinion until the matter is formally submitted to you and your fellow jurors for deliberation?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's move. Is that Mr. Johnson? All right, thank you. Can we pass that down to him? He's badge number 349.
Correct.
Mr. Johnson, how long have you been in Clark County?
24 years.
All right, and how far did you go in school?
Bachelor. Construction management.
Right now, or that's what you were studying?
That's what I got a degree in.
All right, and are you employed?
Yes.
And what's your job?
I'm vice president of a construction company.
Married, divorced, single?
Married.
And what does your spouse do?
She's sick. She has 5 autoimmune diseases.
Has she ever been employed during the pendency of your marriage?
Yes, about 20 years ago.
And what did she do?
She was a landscaping estimator.
Do you have any children?
1,
And how old is that?
35.
Female or male?
Male.
And does he have any children?
Yes, 2.
And
3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
And what are their genders?
Boy and a girl.
Okay. And I apologize if I asked you, what does he do, your son?
He is director of real estate in Texas.
All right. You or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual or physical abuse?
Home robbery about 8 years ago.
All right. Now, during that, were you home? Were you
No.
All right, so home burglary. And were the police called?
Yes.
And did they respond?
Yes.
Was anyone ever caught?
No.
How do you feel like that matter was dealt with or investigated by the police?
Wasn't handled at all.
Did that change the way your views in law enforcement in any way?
No.
Do you feel like that would affect you in any way here?
No.
Any other instances?
No.
Ever been accused, you or anyone close to you, of a crime?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No.
Is there anything about the nature of this case, from what you've heard so far, that makes you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented and wait in forming your ultimate opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you with your fellow jurors?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Can I have your name and badge number, please?
441, Christine Escalambre.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Escobar, how long have you been in Clark County?
I was born and raised, so 28 years.
Okay. And how far did you go in school?
2 years college.
What were you studying?
I was studying business marketing.
And how are you employed now?
I am sole proprietor, business owner.
Okay. And what? Can you tell me a little bit about the business?
So I'm basically an influencer,
Oh, okay.
YouTube, Nintendo brand ambassador.
All right. Got it. How long have you been doing that for?
For 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Are you married, single, in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship.
All right. And what does that individual do?
He's a nurse.
Any children?
No.
Ever been the victim of a crime?
No.
Anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime?
No.
Excuse me. And I should be clear that that does include crimes of physical or sexual abuse.
No, not that I know of.
All right. Same question, but as the accused, you or anyone close to you?
No.
Have you ever been the juror before?
No.
Is there anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
And can you wait? Well, first of all, can you base your verdict only on the evidence that you see and hear in the courtroom? And can you wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you and your fellow jurors to deliberate?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And your name and badge number, please.
Jeremy Failing, 354.
All right, Mr. Bailey, how long have you lived in Clark County?
22 months.
And where were you before?
Elko, Nevada.
And how long were you in Elko?
7 years.
And then where before Elko?
I was in California, in Phelan, California. Phelan.
Okay. And how long were you there for?
3 years.
All right. I'm supposed to establish like a 10-year period, so that's why I'm asking, like, and where were you before that? So what is the reason for the moving?
I moved from California to Elko for work.
Okay.
And then I moved from Elko to Henderson for work.
All right. And what is it that you do?
I work in IT. I'm a problem manager.
And how far did you go in school?
I went through an associate's degree.
Are you married, single? Divorced?
I'm married.
And what does your spouse do?
She's a school teacher.
Do you have any children?
I have one daughter. She's 12.
You or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
No.
What about you or anyone close to you ever been accused of a crime?
My father has had trouble with the law. He was on probation. That's been probably 18 years ago.
How active would you say you were involved in that process when your father was going through that?
I lived with him while I was on probation,
Okay.
but that's it.
How do you feel like he was treated throughout the process, whether it be by the police or the criminal justice system?
I only have hearsay. I don't have anything direct knowledge of it.
And what type of crimes were they?
Drug related.
Is there anything about that situation with your dad that you feel would kind of lead into here, keep you from being fair?
No.
Any other instances that I should be aware of? Anyone else?
I think that's it.
All right. Have you ever been a juror before?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Where was it?
It was in the San Bernardino County,
All right.
California, and it was a murder trial.
When was it? Like within the last 10 years?
Probably the last 12.
Okay. And without telling me what the verdict was a verdict reached?
Yes.
And were you the foreperson?
I was not.
Anything about that experience and that job as a previous juror that you feel would impair you from being fair and impartial in this case?
No.
Anything about the facts or the nature of this case that you've heard thus far that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that you hear and see in this courtroom and wait in basing your final opinion until you have the opportunity to discuss it with your jurors once the matter has been submitted to you?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Ma'am, may I have your name and badge number?
Maxine Rohan, 0453.
Okay. Ms. Rohan, how long have you been in Clark County?
11 years.
And how far did you go in school?
I have a double master's in human resources and psychology.
And are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do?
I work with Department of Veterans Affairs.
What do you do specifically within that department?
I'm a supervisor in a department that does authorizations for the veterans to go outside the VA for care.
Okay. Are you married, single, divorced?
Divorce.
And what did your spouse do when you were married?
He's now retired health inspector here in Nevada.
Any children?
3 boys.
3 boys. All right. Give me their ages and what they do if they're employed full-time, please.
48, 39, and 30.
And what do they do?
The oldest one is currently in jail, awaiting trial, and I'm not sure everything involved in that.
Okay.
The second one is a correction officer here at Metro, and the youngest works with Trump Towers here as security.
All right. Do you have any grandchildren?
I do.
All right.
I have 7.
You have 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me how many boys and how many girls?
3 boys and 4 girls.
And then you don't have to give me every age, but give me the age frame from the oldest. So
The oldest is 18, and the youngest, there are 2 sets of twins, and the youngest, they're 7.
Okay.
Youngest girls.
So let's talk a little bit. We've already talked about your son, that's the corrections officer. Let's talk a little bit about your oldest son in jail.
Mhm.
So you say you don't know much about it.
No, I know he's in Pahrump,
Okay.
FBI. So
Okay. Has your son been in trouble before, or is this his first time?
no, he's been in trouble before.
All right. Would you say, is this like a kind of a drug issue type situation?
I think it has to do something with pills.
Drugs.
No.
All right. Is there anything about that situation with your son that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
No, no.
Do you have any feelings one way or the other of how either the police have treated him or how he's been treated throughout the criminal justice system?
No, I do not.
All right. You or anyone close to ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
I have been.
All right. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I was molested as a child. Was about 7 years old.
And how long did that go on for?
I was kidnapped and molested, and so it just was that one day.
So,
I lived in the island in Jamaica at that time.
okay, so you were kidnapped by a complete stranger?
No, someone that I knew.
Okay. And so that individual took you?
Yes.
And you were molested, and this was a one-time occurrence for that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And then that person took you back home?
Just released me a few miles from my home.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Did you report this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you report it right away or later?
It's a different system in Jamaica.
Okay.
It was reported, but nothing happened because the person just disappeared, just went away.
When you got home, was it a situation in which you told your parents right away?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel like that was handled? When, I mean, you said he just got away.
Actually, what happened is I totally forgot about it for years until about 10 years ago. It was like a video replayed, and all of a sudden, I remembered everything to the moment, what I was wearing, to everything.
So, I mean, you remembered it after happening, not to tell your
But
parents.
yeah, but when it happened, no, they just really talked with me, and I think they took me to the doctor at that time to make sure I was going to be okay.
Okay. But ultimately, that individual wasn't.
No, ma'am.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel that, that you didn't receive justice for the wrongs that were committed against you?
No, I did not. But my parents handled it pretty well,
How do you feel that? Do you feel that that will impact you in any way in being able to be fair here?
No, I think I can be fair. I just find I'm more protected with my granddaughters, who they're around.
Sure.
And whether it's a family friend or not, it doesn't matter, no.
Okay. Any other instances where you've been a victim or anyone close to you've been a victim?
No, ma'am.
What about accused of any crimes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you ever been a juror before?
No, ma'am.
And can you base your evidence solely on what is presented here in this courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything about the nature of this case and what you've heard so far that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
I'm not sure. I've never been confronted with this before, being a victim myself. So, to be honest, I couldn't answer that fairly because this would be the first time I've been in that position, ma'am.
Right. So, and you may have heard me speaking about it to one of the other jurors, but I almost feel like besides our common sense, we almost decide this in a vacuum, right? Because we really can't listen to outside influences. We can't talk about it to other people. We have to base our opinions solely on what we hear the individuals testify to, and then what exhibits are allowed into testimony. And you have to be able to zero in on those and only form your opinion based on the evidence that's presented. Do you feel like that's something you could do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then can you wait in forming your ultimate opinion until the matter is submitted to you as a whole as a jury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Would you mind passing? Can I have your name again, sir?
John Barker. My badge number is 0356.
Thank you, Mr. Barker. How long have you been in Clark County?
Almost 4 years.
And where were you before that?
The Sultanate of Oman.
For what?
Kind of near Dubai. It's a 5-hour drive to Dubai.
Okay. All right. And why were you there?
I worked for a major oil company there as a safety advisor.
And how long were you there for?
For 2 years.
Okay. So because of your job, do you move around quite frequently?
At that time, I did. I was in the Middle East for 5.5 years in various countries.
All right. And before the Middle East, where did you go? Where did you live?
Ventura County, California.
All right. And so tell me a little, well, first of all, how far did you go in school?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, double option in Finance and Real Estate.
And so tell me a little bit about your job now.
Now I have actually a couple of jobs. I worked 28 days on, 28 days off, offshore California on an oil platform, and I'm a safety representative there. And on my 28 days off, occasionally I work as a substitute school teacher for the Clark County School District.
All right. So, married, divorced, single?
I've been divorced a couple of times, and I'm currently married for the last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first ex-wife, what did she do when you were married?
She was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second wife? What was she?
Second wife?
Yes.
She worked at a biotech company in California, and she was like a marketing representative.
All right. And then the
Current wife. She's a table games dealer here in Las Vegas.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
All right. And their gender, please.
You want all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. My oldest is my daughter is 37 years old, and she's married, and she's a comedian, scriptwriter in Hollywood, and her husband's also a comedian and does some stuff on the net. Next is I have a son that is 35, and his wife is a pediatrician. I have 3 children, so I have 3 grandchildren, ages 8 and 4 and 1. And then my next child is a daughter, and she is 32. And she is a, let me see. She's an entertainer, okay. She lives in New York, okay. No children. And then I have triplets that are 13 and a half years old from my second wife, one of which is autistic, nonverbal. The other 2 are typical. And then from my wife that I'm married to, we have a 6.5-year-old boy.
Okay. The 3 grandchildren that you referenced, are they boys or girls?
They're all girls.
All right. Ever been the victim of a crime?
Just minor. Somebody stole some things out of my car. It didn't require any police contact.
Okay. What about accused of a crime? You or anyone close to you?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
Yes, a few times.
All right, so let's go with the first time. How long ago would you say that was? I don't have to have the year, but just give me ballpark.
Well, it was 1994, so.
Oh, okay, so you know.
Yeah.
All right, and where was that
It was actually a federal jury duty in Los Angeles, California, and I had a 3-month commitment to.
Was it grand jury or jury?
I was selected for grand jury, but I didn't win the lottery for that, which was good. That's a 2-year commitment. So they bumped us all to just regular federal jury duty.
Okay. And so were those criminal matters that you oversaw or civil?
Both.
Okay. And then, so forgive me because we probably do it differently here. So when you said it's a federal, did you hear multiple trials within those 3 months?
Yes.
All right.
And actually, I never served on a jury. I went through the selection process, but was never actually, I got disqualified a number of times.
Okay. So have you ever actively served?
Yes, in Ventura County Superior Court.
And when was that?
That was probably 13 years ago.
And criminal or civil matter?
That was, criminal is like a misdemeanor criminal matter.
Okay. And without telling me what the verdict was a verdict reached?
Yes.
And were you the foreman?
No, I was not.
Have you been a juror another time? Or was that it?
That was the only time I was selected, yes.
Is there anything about the nature of this case that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that you hear and see in the courtroom?
Yes.
And can you wait in forming your ultimate opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you to discuss with your fellow jurors?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. And if you wouldn't mind passing that, is it Mr. Blomgren?
Yes.
How long have you been in Clark County, sir?
Most of my life.
And how far did you go to school?
High school.
Are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
Security at the Mirage.
How long have you been doing that?
This will be my year and 2 days.
Okay. What did you do previous to security?
Security and a martial arts instructor.
And married, divorced, single?
Relationship.
And what does that individual do?
She's a daycare teacher.
Any children?
One on the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Boy or girl?
Not sure yet. We find out in October.
All right. Ever been the victim of a crime, or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
My fiance, she was 11. She was living in Jamaica and she was sexually assaulted.
Did she report that matter to the
No, I'm the only one that she talked about it with.
So she's never told anyone else besides you?
No.
Did you ever talk to her about why she never told anybody?
She said that she wasn't sure. Like, she said she was scared.
Is there anything about that situation with your fiance that she has told you about that you feel would affect you any way you hear?
No.
Any other instances you or anyone close to you been the victim of a crime?
No.
What about accused of a crime? You or anyone close to you?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
Nope.
Anything about the nature or the facts of this case that you've heard thus far that you feel may prevent you from being fair and impartial to either side?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence presented to you and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you and your fellow jurors?
Yes.
All right. You guys, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break to give you a chance to stretch your legs and use the restroom. During the recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse among yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to this trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report of or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this trial by any medium of information, including without limitation to newspapers, television, the internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with this trial until the case is finally submitted to you. So one thing that jurors or potential jurors sometimes get confused about is you're not allowed to talk to anybody, right, about what's going on in here. That includes with each other. So you can't say anything about this case, even to one another. Once you're ultimately selected as jurors, it still is that way. You can't discuss anything about this case until you are ultimately in the jury deliberation room and the case is completely over. So please keep that in mind. And I'll see you back in 10 minutes at 4:10. Make sure you know where you're sitting because that'll be the spot you go back
You
to.
may have a new buddy next to you, so now with that person, because that's how we're going to line up. Okay? Any new buddies? All right, the exit of the prospective juror.
course, no, that's fine, just 1 second, I want to put something on the record. Okay, so, Mr. Davis, there were a few times that I found you to be really pushing the envelope and very disrespectful. You're not going to swear in here. You're not going to converse with the jurors when they're up here. If I say to you, do you have a question, then you can ask them a question. Other than that, there should not be any communication with the jurors. Also, you cannot be saying things like, the prosecutor's doing this, the state's doing this, I'm by myself, I just got yelled at the bench. Those are completely improper to do. This jury is to decide the case on its merits. So they will listen to witnesses, they will listen to opening statements, they will listen to closing arguments. But you're not going to just get to talk to them whenever you want or whenever things don't go your way. That's completely improper. If it was an attorney that did something like that, I would have really been unhappy. So are there any questions you have on things you can and cannot do? Because this is your warning. I won't allow conduct like that ever again.
Yeah, I have no idea what I can't do. So when I do something, obviously I don't know I can't do it. I mean, I didn't get a lawyer rule book.
Okay, but this is why I canvassed you during Ferretta, I told you about all these types of things, that you would be held to the same standard that a lawyer would be held to, and you still chose to represent yourself. In doing that, I'm going to hold you to the standard that an attorney would be held to. So you don't get to make statements about, I just got in trouble because I don't know what I'm doing. You're the one who chose to represent yourself.
I didn't say anything because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yeah. You said, I just got, I don't think you said.
About the case, I got in trouble.
Yelled at as a bench.
Not yelled at, it
I didn't
was
say yell.
lectured.
Scolded.
I just got scolded at because I don't know what I'm doing. Number one, what happens at the bench is between us up here. That's the reason why we do it up at the bench. You didn't get scolded. And number two, you can't say to them, I don't know what I'm doing, or I was forced to represent myself, because none of those things are true. So just make sure that when you're in front of the jury, you're behaving in a manner that is going to allow the jurors to decide this case on the merits. So no more side chatter, no more taking digs at the state. Ms. Collins is going to be held to the same standard that you are. Got it?
I mean, Your Honor, she's a DA, she's been here like 20 years. I mean,
And you have the right
how can I be held to the same standards as a DA that's been in this court that's familiar with the
Because when you choose to
20 years.
because when you choose to represent yourself, then you are treated just like any other attorney, which is what I explained to you during the Freda campus.
I understand that, Your Honor, but not knowledge of courtroom procedures should not be a strike against me.
Well, it is. You think that it's not? Is it not common knowledge that you shouldn't be swearing?
I don't consider it has to swear. I swear.
Okay.
I mean,
All right. Well, now you're on notice that it is. All right. 10 minutes.
I'll let you know when we're ready.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll need any more additional jurors for tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning will be
Or tomorrow,
afternoon.
yeah. Well, she said, tomorrow, she said, just tomorrow. Will you need any additional jurors brought in for tomorrow for continuing?
Honestly, right now it's so hard to tell. How many do we have right now? How many did we bring in?
we've lost 8.
We lost 8. And how many did we have?
6.
We're down to 52. We lost another 10.
According to this.
Yeah, we'll need 10 more.
10 more?
Yeah. Just to be safe. All right, we're back on the record in C340075, State of Nevada versus Raymond Davis. Mr. Davis is present with Mr. Klaus as his standby counsel, and his standby counsel, Mr. Klaus, Augustus, and Stacey Collins for the state. All right, so go ahead, Raymond.
Your Honor, I got a question before we come back in.
Okay.
I want to challenge the whole jury the makeup of this jury pool. I want to challenge this jury pool based on the lack of African-American males, based on none of these, seems none of these jurors, even the black ones, have anything to do with me. They're not from my community. These are not from my communities. These jurors all seem well-to-do with great jobs. They got great family backgrounds. I'm from the ghetto. I mean, we got, none of these people have claimed that they've been a victim of any kind of violent crimes or anything like that. This is like a fairy tale jury that I never saw before. It's like all these people are perfect. I want to challenge the jury pool. I'm a black African-American male that's 52, that's been charged with crimes of sex and stuff like that. And I don't see any similar, I haven't seen one person in this pool, on this pool that has any similarities, I'm not saying my crime or whatever, but to who I am or my peer. I mean, I would hang out with any of them. So how can they be my peer?
But you're not entitled to a jury that you would hang out with.
I want a jury with my peer.
How many African Americans are there on this prospective panel?
I see two guys. I see two guys, and they're both, I mean, 2 out of 50. I mean, that's two black guys out of 50. That's 1 in 25. I'm a black man.
Okay, and how many black females?
I saw about 3. But this is a crime against a female, so, you know, that the jury pool is not, this is not a good jury pool. 2 out of 25, 2 to 25, 1 in 25 is black, and a black man is on trial. You know, I know the judicial system look like this, you know, but I cannot get a fair trial with this jury.
Yeah, Your Honor. I've gone through the jury panel list provided to us by the court. I have the race indicated line indicates there are 14 African Americans on this panel. 1 African American male left, because as the court recalls, he had a cancer diagnosis, and we released him by agreement of the defendant. So there are 14 African Americans. He's not entitled to similarly situated African American males that have been charged with sex offenses. He's permitted to have a jury of his pools, or of his peers, excuse me. Right now, almost 25% of this panel is African American. They can accept the 1 gentleman that left. So now we're down to 13. So he's not entitled to specifically male or females. He's just entitled to a jury of his peers. So I did the math when he says, I don't know, whatever his number was, 7, that's inaccurate based on what I'm looking at in what came from the jury commissioner.
So I think what we're getting confused at, Mr. Davis, is and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I'm hearing from you, it's not necessarily that you're arguing that there's not enough African Americans, it's that there's not enough African Americans that you would consider from what you're referring to as your community, your peers.
Yes, my community, my peers. Your Honor, you guys don't know the black community. You guys can't speak on, you don't know what goes on in the black community. These people that they have talked to, they are not part of the black community.
But you're not entitled to the black community.
Okay, I'm saying if you talk about 2 black males out of 50, and, I mean, just the jury pool makeup, this jury, I never saw a jury like this. I've been to a lot of trials.
How many trials have you been to?
I was going to be, once upon a time in my life, I wanted to be an attorney, and I basically, when I lived in LA, I would have a lot of time on my hands, so I would go down and listen to jury trial. I used to enjoy that, and if I didn't become a professional world-class poker player, I would have loved to have been an attorney. But what's happening in this court is happening around America. Blacks are not getting fair treatment, and I'm not a racist. I love white people. I grew up in foster home. From the time I was 3 until I was 14, I was raised by white people. I love white people. My best friends that's going to come here, they're all white. I don't hang around. I don't have a bunch of black people I hang around.
You just said that black people are your community.
I said yes. My community, okay, but I don't hang out with my neighbors. I don't hang out with my neighbors. So what's happening here is what's happening in America, and this just shows that where the system is messed up, where a black man can't get a decent jury pool because it's only 2 blacks on the jury.
There's 14 African Americans in this panel.
Your Honor.
They put it in here. If you look, it says African American. 14 of these individuals identify
It's
themselves.
14.
Yeah. Read
Okay,
it in front of you.
Okay, it's 14. After she removes 9 of them, that means it's going to be 14, remove 9. I'll have 5 blacks on the whole jury pool. 2, and I'm sure she'll get rid of them.
Who? Miss Collins?
Yes.
You're saying she's going to use all of her peremptories on black people?
Yes, I'm saying she's a racist. I'm saying it right in this court that she's a racist. On record, that she's a racist.
You're saying that she's a racist
I'm saying
because why?
I'm saying the DA is a racist. I went over her record. All her prosecutions have been against black African American males. I Googled it. I researched it. I found it. Don't think I didn't do my homework. I did. I'm saying this DA is a racist.
Time out. You're telling me that every single person Miss Collins has prosecuted has been a black
I
male.
didn't say every single man.
Oh, but you said You said
I
every
said
person.
a lot of them.
No, that's not what you said.
I guarantee you, look at her record, she prosecuted mostly black males.
Okay.
She is a racist.
Okay,
A
the one
racist
thing
DA. And a dirty
No,
one.
I'm done listening because this is crazy what is happening right now. What you just fail to understand is Miss Collins does not get to pick who she prosecutes. The cases are assigned to her. The cases come in and a team chief who is not her assigns to the deputies which cases they have. It's not like she gets to go into a folder and be like, oh, I want him, I want her, I want him, I want her. That's not how this works. Okay? So you don't get to come in here and say that she's a racist, that you're not going to get a fair trial because there's only 2 black people on this jury. That's not true. There are 14 African American individuals on this panel. If you are challenging how the jury commissioner picks their juries and gets these numbers, I am happy to have the most recent testimony by the jury commissioner marked as an exhibit to go along with your objection that you feel like this is not a cross-section of your personal, what you're saying, community from the hood. Would you like me to mark that as an exhibit?
Your Honor.
Yes or no?
No. Your Honor, I know how the DA picks up cases.
You don't?
Yes, I do. I knew before when you were saying, I knew it already. I know that they're not selected. Supposedly, they don't look at the case and say, oh, I'll take this one. I know it's supposed to be, I just got this case.
Right.
But when you look at this case, how every motion I have had, even Craig Mueller and his associates, every motion I have had in front of you has been denied. Every motion DA Stacey Collins has had in front of you has been successful.
Okay. And
That to me is, oh, go ahead.
So I don't even know what you're talking about, what motion you're making right now. If you would like to be heard on a motion or you have representation to make, go ahead. Otherwise, we have a jury waiting.
Your Honor, I'm not making a motion. I'm just saying that I don't think this is fair. I don't think that I'm getting the same treatment of the court that the DA, Stacey Collins is getting.
She hasn't even made a motion today.
No, I'm not talking about a motion today. I know for a fact that all my motions are getting rejected. That's why I put them in.
So you are not making legal motions.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's not fair. The fact that I have allowed you to admit almost 20 motions is not fair to the state. Because what the rules say is you were supposed to file those motions 10 days before this trial started. Yet I have completely ignored those rules for you so you can have those motions heard. Okay? So if anyone's not getting fair treatment, it's the state, because they should have 5 days to respond in writing to each one of those motions. So you have raised the issue of whether or not you feel like this is a cross-section of your community. I am happy to mark as an exhibit the jury commissioner's recent testimony on how these individuals are brought in. You have declined my offer to do that. So your motion is denied. If at any time you would like that testimony marked as an exhibit, I'm happy to do it to go along with your objection. Other than that, bring in the jury. They're not going to wait anymore.
Also, Your Honor, and Voir juror, I would like my chance to question each prospective juror also, not just the state or Your Honor.
You're going to get your opportunity to speak to the jurors.
Okay.
I go first, then Ms. Collins goes, and you go.
Okay, I just want to speak to each of them individually,
No, that's not how we do it.
so I don't have it.
All rise for the entrance of the prospective jury. All members of the prospective jury are present.
Thank you. We're back on the record in C-34007 State of Nevada versus Raymond Davis. He's present with standby counsel. Mr. Klaus, Ms. Collins, Chief Deputy District Attorney of the Clark County District Attorney's Office is present. Do both sides stipulate to the presence of the prospective jury panel?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so the next few questions. We need to, I apologize, just one second. So these questions are for, and it's 452, I think it's Overshelf, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Yes, Rohan. Yes, and I think it's Narconsi. You there? Okay, correct. So my law clerk pointed out to me that when I was asking some questions, I forgot to ask the three of you a few of the specific questions. So just give me a second. All right, so just for the three of you, it was the question about having any philosophical, religious, or any type of belief that you feel would prevent you from being fair. Do any of the three of you have any answer to that question? Showing no response. The question I asked about whether or not you'd ever been had a contact with law enforcement that you would consider to be negative, where you weren't treated with the dignity and respect that you thought you should have been treated with. Showing no response. Did all three of you hear what I was talking about, how jurors are allowed to ask questions? And did any of you take issue or think you might take issue if your question wasn't asked? Showing no response. And under our system, certain principles apply in every criminal trial. That is that the charging document is just a charging document. It is not evidence of guilt in any way. It's merely an accusation. That the defendant is presumed innocent, and that the state must prove the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do any of the three of you have any issues with those three principles of our criminal justice system? Showing no response. Okay, thank you. Lastly, is there any of you or any one of you that would have any trouble following the law or following the instructions that I give to the jury at the end of the case, even if you disagreed with that law personally? Showing no response. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's start back up. Your name and badge number, please.
Steve Cole, 369.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Cole. How long have you lived in Clark County?
About 25 years.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade, then military police school after that.
All right, and are you employed?
I am.
How are you employed?
Sales manager for Best Mattress Company.
How long were you in the military police for?
4 years.
And married, single, divorced?
Married.
And what does your spouse do?
She's a dispatcher at the Cosmopolitan.
Any children?
3.
And their ages and gender, please.
29 female, 25 female, and 19 male.
Any of them employed full-time?
They're all employed full-time.
And what do they do?
My oldest daughter works for Allegiant. My middle daughter works for Samstown, and my son is currently serving in the Air Force.
Do any of your children have children?
My oldest daughter has 2.
And their gender and age, please.
Female, and she's 7, and male, and he's 3.
Thank you. You or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual or physical abuse?
I had a cousin.
And what crime were they a victim of?
Sexual assault.
Where in the country was that?
Southern California.
And was this when they were a child or as an adult?
Child.
Was it by a stranger or someone they knew?
Someone they knew.
Did they alert like their parents or?
They did. It was an older stepbrother.
That lived in the house?
Yeah.
Was that matter, like, were the police called? Was it litigated through the criminal justice system?
It was. They had to basically get divorced and separate the kids from him.
Did it go throughout the court system? Let me ask this. Was the stepbrother a minor at the time he committed the offense?
He was.
Is there anything about that situation that you feel would keep you or prevent you from being fair and impartial?
I don't believe so.
Was this something that happened one time, or did it happen over a period of time and the child didn't come forward till later?
To the best of my knowledge, I'm not sure if it happened prior, but it got found out. That's all kind of I know in regards to that.
Thank you. Any other instances of individuals who are victims? You or anyone close to you?
Same person, just like I say, a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol, and in his 30s ended up impregnating a 15-year-old.
So I know that was an older stepbrother. So are you related by blood to that individual, or is it through the marriage?
Technically, he's adopted, so I wouldn't say necessarily by blood, but
Okay. Do you have a relationship with him?
he died of a drug overdose some years back.
Okay. Anything about him, the way he was treated, what he did to others that you feel would impact you either way?
I just feel like he did some time for drugs and robberies and stuff like that, but I don't feel he never did any time for the sexual assault things.
Okay. Could you separate what he did from what's happening in this courtroom, though?
I believe so.
And in regards to being accused of a crime, obviously we know the individual that you're just talking about. Anybody else that you know has been accused of crime?
No,
Ever been a juror before?
I have.
Tell me about that. Where was it?
It was here in Clark County,
How long ago?
probably close to 11, 12 years ago, maybe. It was a long one, over 30 days, so.
Criminal or civil?
Civil,
Did the jury reach a verdict?
they did.
And were you the foreperson?
I was not.
Anything about that situation that you feel would impair or affect you here?
No, but it was a long way to go to be an alternate. That kind of stunk.
I'm sorry. Anything about the nature of this case or anything you've heard thus far that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
Don't believe so.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented in this case, what you see in here, and wait and form your decision or your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you with your fellow jurors?
Yes.
All right, thank you, I appreciate that. Name and bachelor, please.
Jessica Brown, 443.
How long have you been in Clark County?
10 years.
Are you employed?
No, I'm a homemaker. I have autoimmune medical issues, so I don't work.
Okay. And how far did you go in school?
2 years of college.
What were you studying at the time?
Medical healthcare administration.
Are you married, single?
Married.
And what does your spouse do?
He is a IT security officer for NDOT for the state.
All right, thank you. Any children?
No.
You or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
No.
What about, same question, but in regards to accused?
No.
Have you ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that you feel may impact you or affect you in any way, prevent you from being fair?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that is presented to you and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is submitted to you with your fellow jurors?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Brown, I appreciate it. Badge number?
My Karin Gillard, badge 373,
How long have you been?
21 years.
How far did you go in school?
I have a Bachelor of Science in college.
And are you employed?
I'm currently in transition to another occupation.
Okay, what's the transition?
I was formerly a director of catering sales for a hotel, and I'm transitioning into destination management work.
Married, single?
Married.
And what does your spouse do?
He is an executive banquet chef at a hotel.
Any children?
No.
Ever been the victim of a crime, including crimes of sexual abuse?
I believe an attempt was made by my stepfather on myself when I was very young.
Okay. One time or more than one time?
One time, but I think I made it clear. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I think I made it clear, and then it was just very on guard the remaining years of being in the same house.
How old were you when that happened?
About 10.
Did you tell your mom?
Yes.
Did your mom take any action? Or
No.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
Do you feel like anything was ever made and attempted on them?
No, it's a brother, older.
Besides telling your mom, did you tell anyone else?
Yes, I've told my brother, who is now the father of 2 teenagers who was around my stepfather, or 2 young girls that's around my stepfather.
And I apologize, I should have said when you were little. Like, did you tell anyone else besides your mom?
No, I really wasn't sure what was going on. I just knew it wasn't right.
Anything about that when you went through as a child, that you feel would impact you here?
I'm very on guard and suspicious. I watch my nieces when they're around my stepfather. So, yes.
Okay. So, and I'm sure you've heard me kind of couch it this way with a couple of the other jurors who had some of the same concerns, is can you will you be able to only consider what's presented in these four walls? So obviously it's completely appropriate and for you to be suspicious and watch your stepfather around your nieces, right? Because you feel like, hey, I know what he's capable of. But as Mr. Davis sits here right now, he is innocent. And it's up to the jurors to listen to the testimony and look at the evidence and only base their decision on what they hear and see here. Is that something you can do?
Yes.
Any other instances you or anyone close to you about being a victim?
No.
What about the same question in regards to being accused, though?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Where was it and how long ago?
Clark County, and it feels like 18 months ago. Probably more like 2 years.
Okay. And was it criminal or civil?
It was criminal.
What were the charges? What type of
Sexual molestation of a minor under 14.
And without telling me the verdict, was a verdict reached?
Yes.
Were you the foreperson?
No.
Have you been a juror any other times?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that is presented and wait in forming your decision and your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you with your other jurors?
Yes.
Other than what we've discussed, is there anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel you want to be able to be fair and impartial?
No.
All right, thank you. Is it Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hayes, badge number 375. How long have
Yes.
you been in Clark County?
27 years.
And how far did you go in school?
High school.
Are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do?
Southwest Airlines.
And what do you do for Southwest?
I stock the planes with the food and drinks.
Married, single,
Engaged.
engaged? And what does your soon-to-be spouse do?
She's a CO for Metro.
Oh, yeah, we already talked about
Yeah.
that. Sorry about that. Thank you. Any children?
Yes. All together or just biological?
All together.
5. All girls. 24, 22, 12, 8, and 7.
Anybody full-time employed?
Yes. The 24-year-old is Starbucks, and the 22-year-old is a flight attendant for Southwest.
Okay. In regards to the crime questions I've been asking, you or anyone close to you been the victim of a crime?
No.
What about accused?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel you would be able to be fair and impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that is presented and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately given to you and your fellow jurors?
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Badge number?
382.
382, Miss Landy.
Yes, Jackie Landy.
All right. How long have you lived in Clark County?
3 years, but then prior 11 years. So I had a gap
You had
in
a gap.
between.
Where were you in the gap?
Medford, Oregon.
And how far did you go to school?
4 years of college.
And how are you employed?
I am somewhat self-employed. I'm a blogger, and I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, and your blogging, what is on the topic of?
Couponing.
All right. Married, divorced, single?
I'm married.
And what does your spouse do?
He's a safety director for a construction company here.
And how many children, if any?
I have a stepdaughter who is 22, and then we have 4 boys together. My twins are 14, and then I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. Oh, well, actually, he just turned 7.
Okay. And I'm sorry, did you say all boys?
All boys. The younger is all boys.
All right, thank you. Victim, ever been a victim you or anyone close to, including crimes of sexual abuse?
No, just like minor break-in cars in the
Anything
neighborhood.
about that? First of all, were the police called for any of that?
One was a sting operation in our neighborhood. The police showed up and told me my car was broken into, so kind of. And then the other one, yes, they were called, but there was no major investigation.
Anything about that impact you in any way?
No.
Any other instances that I should know about being a victim you or anyone close to you?
No.
What about the opposite, accused?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. My spouse pled guilty to burglary of a habitation in 1999.
Okay. Were you married then?
No.
Did you even know each other then?
Yes.
Okay. Any Any thoughts one way or the other about how your spouse was treated by the police, by the criminal justice system, anything like that?
No.
Do you think that would impact you in any way?
No, I do not.
Anybody else have been accused?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that you feel would impact you or prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented in this case and wait in forming your ultimate opinion until the case is given to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And is it, how do I pronounce it?
Ukachi Ugorji,
Ugorji.
in 385.
And how long have you been in Clark County?
3 years.
Where were you before?
Georgia,
And how long were you in Georgia for?
my whole life.
Okay. Why did you move to Las Vegas?
For my job,
And how far did you go in school?
I have a doctorate in veterinary medicine.
So I would assume then that you're a veterinarian.
Yeah.
And so have you been a vet now for 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Married, single, divorced?
Single.
Any children?
No.
Ever been the victim of a crime, you or anyone close to you?
No.
What about accused of a crime?
No.
Ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about what you've heard so far about this case impact you or make you feel like you would not be able to be fair or impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence presented and wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ms. Hardesty,
Hello.
badge number 386.
Yes.
All right. How long have you lived in Clark?
2 years, 2 months.
And where before that?
Southern Utah, Cedar City, Utah for 13 years.
And why did you move to Las Vegas?
Better job opportunity.
How far did you go in school?
3 years university.
And what were you studying?
General studies.
And are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do?
I work at a business office at a car dealership.
Married, single?
Single.
Any children?
No children.
Ever been the victim of a crime?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that, please?
When I was 7, I was molested by one of my mother's friends.
Friends?
hmm
Did you tell your mom?
I did.
Did you tell her as soon as it happened?
I told her a little bit after it happened. There was multiple occasions of it.
Did it go on, would you say, like, for longer than a year?
No.
All right. But eventually you told your mom?
Yes.
And once you told your mom, was it reported to the police?
No.
Do you know why your mom didn't do that?
I don't think she believed me.
Did you ever tell a teacher or a counselor?
No. I told my dad later, but much later, like years after it happened.
Were your dad and your mom married?
No.
Once you told your dad, did he take any legal action?
No, because at that time it had been probably like 12. It was towards like the end of high school. Like it was a long time after it happened.
Okay. How do you feel about that? How do you feel that that you didn't get justice?
Well, I feel angry towards my mother for not listening to me.
Yeah. Do you ever? Is your mother still alive?
No.
Did you ever broach that topic with her as an adult?
No.
Is there anything about what you have gone through that you feel would impact you if you were a juror in this case?
Possibly.
Tell me a little bit more.
Well, I feel like I could be fair and honest, but at the same time, since I was molested as a child, I can kind of, I don't know, yeah.
Let me ask you this. Let's say if the alleged victims came in here, or if the alleged victim came in here, and started telling her story, and it didn't make sense to you, or the facts, you were like, this isn't sounding right to me. Do you think because of what happened to you, you would overlook that and give her the benefit of the doubt, or do you think that you would still be able to decide it as any other juror would be able to?
I would decide it based off the facts.
Okay. So even though you've been through what you've been through, do you think that you can base your decision fully on what you hear and see within these four walls?
Yes.
you or anyone close to you being a victim?
No. Well, actually, my dad was a victim as well from his brother when he was young.
Did your dad report it?
To his parents.
Did his parents do anything?
No. But my uncle continued to have problems with that and ended up in prison for child molestation.
Anything about that situation that you feel would impact you?
No, because I never knew him.
What about any other instances of being a victim?
No.
What about accused of crime?
No.
Been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case other than what we've already discussed that you feel would prevent you from being fair and impartial?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented here in this courtroom and then wait in informing your opinion until the matter is submitted to you?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Badge number, please.
391, Angela Pearson.
How long have you lived in Clarkland?
Since 94.
All right.
Can I make you aware of something really quick?
Yeah.
I talked to Dean. My technology reminded me of a doctor's appointment that my 10-year-old daughter has on Thursday morning at 7:50 for surgery on a broken arm. I thought it was the following Thursday, being the great mom I am.
When's the actual surgery?
This Thursday.
Oh, the surgery is this Thursday.
This Thursday. She broke it 3 spots
Okay.
of her board.
Okay. So the appointment's at 7:50, but that's actually like the pre-op. The surgery's going to be that same day.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Would you mind passing the microphone?
All right, thanks.
Name and badge number?
Jessica Nefronsky. Badge number is 455.
All right. And how long have you lived in Clark County?
I've been here for the last 2 years. We moved in a fifth wheel, so it's 6 months here and 6 months in California. But I moved to Vegas in 1991.
So have you been doing that the
Past 2 years, yes. Yes, traveling back and forth because I have family in both areas.
And where were you before then, before you did those 2 years like that?
Here in Vegas,
Okay.
in Henderson.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade.
Are you employed?
Not right now, no.
And when you were employed the last time you were employed, what did you do?
I was a cook
Married, single?
in a relationship. Engaged.
Engaged.
Yeah.
What does that individual do?
He is a bartender.
Any children?
No.
Ever been the victim of a crime?
No.
Ever been accused of a crime?
No.
And that applies to you or anyone close to you?
No.
Okay. Ever been a juror before?
No.
Anything about the facts of this case that you feel would prevent you from being fair?
No.
Can you base your verdict solely on the evidence that you hear and see in the courtroom?
Yes.
And can you wait in forming your opinion until the matter is submitted to you?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Can I have your name and badge number?
Joshua Simon, 402, badge number.
All right, how long have you been in Clark County?
About 10 years.
And where were you at?
Philippines and England.
And how far did you go in school?
Bachelor's degree in business.
Are you employed?
I am self-employed. I'm a social media marketing.
Married?
No, I have a girlfriend.
And what is your girlfriend?
She's a mechanic.
Any children?
No,
Have you ever been the victim of a crime or anyone close to you?
not me, but my girlfriend.
All right, can you tell me about what crime?
Domestic abuse. Not me.
And was that a one-time occurrence or a relationship full of it?
A relationship full of it.
Okay. And were the police ever called for that?
Yeah.
How do you feel like that situation was handled? If you know.
I don't, actually. It was before me.
Is there anything about that that you feel would affect your ability to be fair and impartial here?
No. A little, because I work a lot with kids. I go to the Shade Tree and I go to 3 Square, all those things. And a little bit, but I'm capable enough to not let it get to me.
I guess it really comes down to if you're able to focus really on, if you can 100% focus on just what's presented in this box of a room, and only base your verdict solely on the facts that you hear, testimony that you hear, things like that. Is that something you're capable of doing?
Yes.
All right. Any other instance where you've been a victim of a crime, you or anyone close to you?
Me, no.
What
That's it.
about accused?
No, I'm a great guy.
Have you ever been a juror before?
I have not.
Anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And can you base your verdict solely, we talked about this, on the evidence that's presented in this case?
Yes.
And can you wait in forming your opinion until the matter's given to you to decide with your fellow jurors?
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Patricia Hagan, 449,
Thank you, Ms. Hagan. How long have you been in Clark County?
50 years,
How far did you go in school?
12th grade,
And are you employed or retired?
retired.
And what are you retired from?
I worked in a factory,
Are you married, single?
Married.
What does your spouse do, or what did he do?
well, he's retired, and he was a plumber.
Any children?
Yeah. I have 2, and my husband has 2.
All right, so your 2, are they male or female?
Well, one of each.
All right. And what do they do for a living?
My son works for AOL, and my daughter is kind of in between.
All right, and then your husband's 2, what do they do?
His son's in charge of something in Henderson, and his daughter's a teacher.
Do you guys have any grandchildren?
Yes, 8.
8. And how many boys and how many girls?
Well, we've got 4 boys, 4 girls.
All right, and then just give me the age. What's the youngest and what's the oldest?
The oldest is 24, and the youngest is 18.
Are any of them employed full-time?
Yeah.
What do they do?
I'm trying to think. Oh, no, they're not. Never mind. I'm just tired. I'm sorry.
Okay, so they're not employed?
No, no.
Okay, thank you. Have you ever been the victim of a crime, or has anyone close to you been the victim of a crime?
My daughter,
What type of crime was she a victim of?
domestic violence,
Was that a one-time thing or a long-standing thing?
a long thing.
Was it ever reported to the police?
Yes,
How do you feel like the police handled that situation?
not good.
What could they have done better in your opinion?
Well, when we called them, they never came.
On one occasion or more than one?
More than one.
Do you feel like that would affect you in any way in regards to this case?
I don't know. Might.
How might it?
I don't know. It's just hard to. It's hard.
Can you help me understand in what way?
Well, I think about seeing her get hurt and my grandkids, and it's hard not to think about it.
Okay. I'll let the parties follow up with questions in regards to that when it comes time. Anybody else you know or yourself been a victim of a crime?
No.
What about accused of a crime?
Well, somebody I used to know, but I don't think we need to count him.
Okay. Well, what was he accused of?
He was the other side of the domestic violence,
Oh.
and he was robbery, drugs, all kinds of things.
Have you ever been a juror before?
No.
And is there anything about the nature of this case, what you've heard so far? I know you've heard just a very little. Anything about that that makes you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair?
Possibly.
And why is that?
I don't know. It's just a touchy subject with me, and I'm not sure why. I don't mean to be that way, but just being honest.
Sure. All right, I'll let the parties follow up on that. Would you mind passing it over to the juror next to you, please?
Grant Nebeker, 404.
And how long have you been in Clark County, sir?
All my life, 26 years.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade.
Did I already ask, are you employed? Did we already go through that? No.
No. Oh, yeah, I work for the school district in the transportation department.
Married, single, divorced?
Single.
Any children?
No.
Ever been the victim of a crime or anyone close to you been the victim of a crime?
Just burglarized the car, but nothing too much.
Did you report it to the police?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, were they able to catch anybody?
No.
Do you feel like they could have done more?
No, there was not much we could do.
All right, anything about that bothers you in any way?
No.
Or makes you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair?
No.
All right, any other instances that I should be aware of?
I have an aunt and a cousin that got busted together trafficking drugs, so they're locked up. And then when I was a kid, I know my grandfather got locked up for something with one of my cousins. There was a female.
Is there anything about those instances where you feel like they were treated fairly, or either by the police or by the criminal justice system?
No.
Anything that would impact you in any way?
No.
Ever been to jury before?
No.
Anything about the nature of this case that makes you feel like you wouldn't be able to be fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
And you base your verdict solely on the evidence that's presented here in this case?
Yes.
And can you wait in forming your opinion until the matter is ultimately submitted to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a couple minutes after 5. So, can the parties approach, please?
No.
Okay. In the first row, Dean? Oh.
You see, Your Honor. Did you see I mentioned to you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, forgive me, because I'm trying to remember the name. All right. Does anybody have any objection to this person whose daughter has that surgery being excused?
No.
Okay. So we're going to...
What number is she? I'm sorry.
391. We'll let the hairdresser know.
Oh, the one who knows everyone.
That's number 473. I know you guys agreed to pick her, so we'll do that now. But I'm not going to do it in the presence of everybody. So as she leaves, Dean will let her know that she's excused the lady who cuts off people's hair.
Which one?
Who knows everybody who cuts people's hair. The parties have stipulated to release her. Okay. All right. Did you hear me about 473? 473. Stipulated to release. Okay.
Yeah, the lady, the Asian lady up there, she had a good excuse to leave. I forgot what number she is. She's all the way to the top. Juror number 1.
What's her badge number?
She's 304.
Okay.
She's the one that gets the upset stomach.
Right. Did you want to do follow-up on that, or what did you want to do?
We can let her go. It's fine.
Parties are stipulating to that? Yeah. All right, so 304. Okay, I'll bring everybody else to tomorrow. All right, badge number 304, Christina Stewart, you are excused. And badge number 391, Angela Pearson, you are excused. So, Mr. Reed, could you just fill those seats and then we'll let everybody go home for the night?
Yes,
So you two are excused, you can leave, thank you. Just go out and put them in your badge, and then if we can fill those seats and then we'll leave.
Yes, Your Honor. Next, in seat number 1, badge number 461, Lenithia Harris. And in seat number 20, seat number 20 will be badge number 463, Jason Gordon.
I'm sorry, that's the last name.
Gordon.
All right, so I'm almost done with my questions, and then I'll turn it over to to Ms. Collins and Mr. Davis tomorrow. I have court in the morning tomorrow. My hearings won't be done until about 12. So if you guys could come back and remember your seats and be back here at 1 o'clock, please. During the recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse among yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to this trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report of or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this trial by any medium of information, including without limitation to newspapers, television, the internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is finally submitted to you. You are excused for the evening. If juror number 430 could please stay. Everyone else can go.
Just remember who you're sitting next to, because that's how you're going to line up. All right? All rise for the exit. All fight the jury. That's right. Right up here, you're going to have to go to the first floor. You're going to come outside. Right outside the door.
And then come right back here at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right outside. Okay, wait outside so you're not going to. Outside.
All right, so we are on the record in regards to Mr. Davis's matter. I have asked badge number 430, Brian Albertson, to remain into the courtroom. Because of some representations in regards to relationships to law enforcement, with Mr. Albertson, he would be unable to answer a significant amount of the questions in regards to knowledge about law enforcement, things like that. And so, do either party, do either of the parties have an objection to me releasing him because of his ability to answer certain questions on the record?
I have no objection.
All right, so badge number 430 is excused. Thank you, sir.
Who will be replacing for
Is he on? Is he in the first 32? Yeah. Suzanne Hughes, 467.
467.
Yeah. And for the record, we did excuse 473 Antoinette Aragon. She's the lady who can't be fair because she cuts people's hair. So I didn't want to excuse her in front of everybody because, quite honestly, I think it's a ridiculous excuse and that she's just trying to get out of jury duty. But I don't think either side really wanted her here based on the representations that she had made. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Is that a yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. All right, so I did, let's see here. Okay, so I would ask Mr. Davis, when you're doing any work tonight, that you look up to 8th District Court Rules, Rule 3.20, which talks about the timelines in regards to motions. So just make sure you read through those. So, okay, so that is it. Otherwise, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Your Honor, Your Honor, Monday I may be having a surgery. seeing a specialist this weekend. They might recommend surgery.
Okay, well, I'll need a note from your doctor.
Yes, you'll get a note. and-
No, I'll need to talk to him for why I would be starting a jury trial, and you think it would be okay to just stop a jury trial and get a surgery.
Your Honor, I'm in severe pain. I've been in pain all this
Okay,
morning.
so go down to the house arrest office and get it removed.
Your Honor, it's too late for that.
Okay. All right, so you just let me know. I'll have a conversation with your doctor on that.
Yes, my doctor will contact you.
Are you suggesting to remove the house arrest bracelet, Your Honor? Or
To put it on the other ankle. Or, I mean, obviously I wouldn't think you would want to do this, but if you'd like to be remanded into the Clark County Detention Center and have that taken off, that's an option.
No, I didn't ask that.
I know, I'm just giving you options.
No.
May I?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, excuse me for interrupting. Since the jury's just gonna come back to the 10th floor tomorrow, and Mr. Davis is out of custody, I just want him admonished, he cannot talk to any of those individuals who are awaiting to go through voir dire. And the same admonishment applies to me. I know that I can't talk to them, but just because I want to make sure he's clear on the rules. He can't talk to those people outside the courtroom tomorrow while we're waiting to enter.
That's one rule I know, Your Honor.
Okay, great, yeah, so no contact with, on either side with any of the prospective jurors.
I'm not even going to my car until I know they're all gone.
Okay, great.
I mean, I know that.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 1.
Thank you, Your Honor.